think that I just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. You know, I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wanted to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighters beat me.
My goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. How y'all doing out there, man? Feeling lovely as always. Cookie Monster. Bodywork. AC, salute to the chat. Salute, AC. Salute, homie. Mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. Boom in the building. Salute to Boom. What's going on, man? Hope all is well. Hope you're getting that good work in, man. Staying focused. Yeah, I mean, jelly bean. But it's always an honor and a privilege to be able to talk that good old boxing talk, man. And I'm not going to deny y'all the privilege of being able to have some good old boxing talk, man. Yeah, I figured that much, man. I figured that much, man. I've been thinking about you lately. I've been saying, man, I hope Boom giving it all he got, man. But yeah, stay focused, bro. Stay focused, man. That's what I like to see, man. That's what I like to see and hear, man. I know you're gonna do your thing. So positive vibes to you, man. Hope you having a healthy camp, man. Hope you focused, tunnel-like vision. You know, ready to cut through like a hot knife through butter. You know what I'm saying? But just want to talk some boxing tonight, man, and go over some things and really, yeah, Happy New Year, bro. And really just talk about, you know, some things that I see and like just try to give you like a perspective on how I'm seeing things and how my mind is shaped when it come down to boxing. You know, I do see that I don't know if it's the felonious, you know, 2026 thing since we was in 2025 and now technically we in 2026 according to the calendar that syncs us all. I don't know. But I do think people have been taking their medicine. You know what I'm saying? People have been taking their medicine, man, and they've been on their best behavior. Definitely, I've seen some better quality shows out here, man, especially from some of my guys. Some of my guys who I say was like some of my favorite content creators, man. They actually looking and sounding a little healthier, man. Like they on the up and up, man. I'm like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, a motherfucker gotta jug you in the side just to get some act right. right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, man. Nigga gotta like, yeah, but I've always been the one doing the dirty work, man. Saying what need to be said, man, when nobody else will say it. I've seen people out here trying to be a little more honest on their takes, trying to be raw. Some people still gonna be sensational. Some people just going to like seeing the whole thing on PB. I don't know what it is, man. I guess like creativity and everything is at an all-time low. But I seen somebody just shitting on the PBC, shitting on AB today. I'm like, for what? Like, people did. I'm telling you, man, people can't stand black excellence. They can't, man. No matter how, like, the heights. People talk about PBC like they were BMF. You would think that PBC was BMF. Like, these dudes didn't. They wasn't out there slinging packages, man. They wasn't out there trafficking nothing, man. These dudes was out here making black and brown stars. And even at the crown, at the height, they can't even salute the height. I seen another dumbass dude. He's like the ringleader of, you know who it is. I seen the dumbass Haney voice dude sitting up here talking about, yeah, because Devin, he need to go up to 54 and fight Earl and let Earl pass the torch. Y'all see how these dumbass motherfuckers be thinking out here? Do y'all see how dumb it is? So Earl wasn't shit, you know what I'm saying, because he lost the bud, but Devin should go up and fight Earl so Earl can pass him the torch. Like that, like they be hypocrites, bro. Like, I don't even think people, like, I sit down and I actually think about the shit I'm gonna say when I get online. I don't know about y'all. Yeah, I do some freestyling, but like it be freestyling within my will, like shit that I'm comfortable with saying, my logic, my thinking. I freestyle sometimes in my little rants, but that's all upstairs. But like, I don't even think people understand how can I say Hippocratic they are. Just let that sink in. Devin should go up to 54 and fight Earl so Earl can pass the torch. What torch? So now Earl can, like, so he can be used. So like, man, people don't, just let that sink in, man. So y'all know a lot of the times where these narratives come from. Y'all know why PBC, I've never seen somebody just sit around and just tear down a group, because you gotta think about it. Let's just say you not like, because they always give the connotation of gang banging for PBC, right? Even though I always point out that they don't say you gang banging for Matchroom or you gang banging for Turkey. It's like, no, you're supporting your favorite fighter. You're doing what's best for the sport of boxing. You earning with Eddie Herning, even though it don't seem like nobody's really earning with Eddie Herning here lately. You know what I'm saying? He just gonna let you burn, you know, and he's selling people dreams. He's procuring American talent, and you know, outside of Andy Cruz look like the only one that's like doing exactly what he need to be doing. Him, and I would say Conor Ben, because being that Conor Ben is an Eddie guy and Conor Ben Eddie caters to those guys across the pond. Conor Ben is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing, but let's be honest, he ain't looked the same since the egg situation. So even if you didn't like PBC, right, you still gotta look at the fact that when you look at all of the pay-per-views, the highest paying fights, the people who made the most bread, and then how during that time they stimulated the economy. So I don't understand like these dumbass people who swear they economists, swear they like the jack of all trades, swear that they got all this game and all this, and that's all it is pure game. So you can get a couple hee-hees and ha-has, have a couple people like and comment and subscribe and send you a couple dollars, but outside of that, you are a hypocrite. Like, you can't sit around and shit on the PBC every time they come up, shit on one of their fighters, and cast this cloud over everything that they were able to do just because you don't like them. Because at the point in time, like when Manny Pacquiao and Floyd fought, not only did they get paid, but everybody who was involved got paid. Like, that's when you have big, gigantic fights like that, like, newsflash, you idiots. I know y'all say, they always say, I'm not the sharpest tool in the drawer. Well, shut the fuck up and go sharpen yourself, because you be sounding dumb as fuck to them low-level people that be listening to you over there. I gotta see where the bullshit is coming from because I'm going to eradicate the nest. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going in there. I'm all the rats, all the roaches. Yeah, I'm eradicating all that shit. Because that's what I do. It's body work. It's ugly, but it's effective. So let me learn you something. At the height of PBC, every one of them fights, every one of them blockbuster fights when they made money, guess what? Boxing was in a healthy place. Eyeballs was on the sport. Boxing was thriving. Boxing, if you look at it from an economic standpoint and what these fighters are forced to do now, and the reason why all these fights are starting to line up and it's starting to be like popcorn. Look at January. Look at the end of January, how everybody lining up and they getting fights, and then February they getting fights because everybody have to fight now. You know why? Because they got spoiled. They got too much money. But back when boxing was a little normal, we had some normalcy and we was getting these big fights. Guess what? That was an indication that boxing was healthy. So just because one person stayed over and they didn't want to play in any reindeer games and they didn't go over and do what they needed to do, even though when they finally decided to go over there, they got their second highest payday, Eureka, and they got catapulted to get their number one payday off of that fight, dummies. It's a good book, man. It says that when the head is oiled, the head drips down to the beard and down to the garments. Like everything that touches the head drips down to the beard and it oils the garments. If you know that book, you know what book I'm talking about, man. It's an illustration. So when PBC was thriving and you had all these young black and brown fighters getting paid, those are success stories. I ain't never in my life seen somebody like, yeah, man, I feel bad for Adrian Broner, and then proceed to just shit on him all afternoon. For what? You just one bad baggie away. Like if somebody put some shit in your bag, guess what? You gonna be looking just like AB, and then what? Are we gonna come out here and clown you every day? Like if you mean to do well and you do good, man, send some positive energy that way. If you into praying, pray for them. Meditate for them. Send some resources for them. Get in contact with them since you like calling and sitting on your favorite fighter's bunk bed and you've been over to the house and you've been to the crib. Give them a call since you got all this influence, but don't just be online shitting on them. For what? Then got the nerve to be talking about mental health. You don't give a fuck about mental health. You wouldn't be picking on nobody who's going through something like that. Boxers get hit in the head, so if they going through alcoholism, it goes hand in hand. It's not the time to pick on them. It's the time to lift them up, to try to get them back to somewhat of their glory. But that's what people do. These are the same people that go out and feed a homeless man and be taking pictures and videos and shit. Knock it off, man. Like you are not like that guy like that you think you are. For real. Like you a comedian. You a fake ass Kevin Hart. But just watch because tables turn. It's different when people be out here saying and doing things that's outrageous. You know what I'm saying? Doing delusional things, in which I'm going to talk about today. Like I'm going to talk about it in a real format so you can kind of understand how Michael Rogers thinks, like how I think and how I be looking. I'll be sitting back like, huh? Like explain this to me, bruh. Enlighten me, cuz I don't get it. So I want you to understand. So we, people that's coming on to the channel, new people that's coming on, people that's going to come, people that's going to hear. So you can understand how I be thinking and how I be looking at things. You know what I'm saying? I be like, man, for real, like, is this how you see? Like, am I wrong or am I right? Like, am I delusional or am I missing something? Because I'm a lifelong learner. You know what I'm saying? When you stop learning, you stop earning. And that's not just in pay. That's with your health. That's with relationships. That's with your spirit. That's with your mind. That's with your, your mental, your emotions. I'm always learning something about. I always try to make small contributions to all these different facets of my life to enrich myself overall. So I'm always learning. So this is a learning experience. So when I had these conversations and I get online, I start talking that boxing. It's so that, yes, it's not just so I could put people up on what I'm thinking, but so I can learn too. So that's what we're going to do today, man. Let me get into this housekeeping. I'm skeptical that Maul, Charlo, and Caleb Plant happens on 131. It's not been updated on BoxRec. I know Maul said that he was on Brian Custer's show, and he acted like it was a slip up when he said it. And like any news, you know what I'm saying, until they update it on BoxRec or make like some heavy announcement, because now it's like everybody and mother, even if it's official and it's on BoxRec, people don't acknowledge it till their favorite content creator come out and say it, or they see these dumbass channels saying breaking news, a deal has been struck, and this, like, people don't. So I've been waiting and checking for it ever since then, but like I'm skeptical that it's gonna happen on that day. It might. I mean, they saying they was talking. They were trying to work some things out. I hadn't heard anything about the Fundora stuff yet. So I think it's a hierarchy right now. And I'm not sure if the Maul, Charlo, and the Caleb Plant is on the forefront. I know it's somewhat of a priority, but as far as like the championships or whatever, I think it's going to fall under a couple other announcements when a couple other fights get made, and then we'll actually hear about it. But time-wise, being that it's the 6th, and Maul said the 31st on that interview, per his words, he was acting like it was a slip-up, but I don't know. It don't look like that's happening unless they come out tomorrow and be like, yep, it's going down. But like, that's just, that'll be microwave promotions. It'll be competing with Murtaza Aliyev and Josh Kelly. It'll be competing with Teofimo and Shakur and Jermaine Ortiz and Keyshawn and that whole card. So I'm leaning toward that it's not likely that that's going to be the date. February or March, it might look more appetizing, but then again, we're not getting these announcements about certain things. You know what I'm saying? We did hear about, I think, the Mario Barrios and the Ryan Garcia, and something that's on that undercard. But that Maul, Charlo, and Caleb Plant, which is a critical fight, not hearing much about it. So I'm waiting on that. But I know I just wanted to come out because I remember when I came out and I said that Maul said that about the 31st, and I've been waiting for it to be substantiated, and it has yet to be done. Number 2, Subriel Matias must recertify his boogeyman card against Dalton Smith this weekend. I always believe that the style that Subriel Matias has, I mean, until his punch resistance goes all the way down to nothing, he is a very, very tough out. At one point in time, I was very, very, very high on Subriel Matias. I still like Subriel Matias. I might not be as high on him because I'm like, man, I think that you can't make somebody change their style, but I'm like, man, that man get hit too much, man. And I don't want to be one of these people sitting around like these other people, just joning on people when you see that their punch resistance going down, and then they start getting these interviews. And it's a language barrier there, but who knows? Subriel might come around and speak a little more English. He speaks a little bit. Not as much as I would like him to, but in time he may learn more as he, start to be more opportunistic business-wise and speak. But like, I want him to have all of his faculties. And I think that the older he gets and the kind of style he gets and the level of competition that he gets and people willing to sell out against him, you're gonna get hit in his head a lot more, man, and it's not gonna be good because you can't get hit that many times and be all right. And that pressuring style that he has, it's a tough out for anybody. If you're not like how Mr. Gary Russell Jr. be saying, if you're not in 15 round championship round dog shape, you know, it's highly unlikely that you're going to be able to beat him. Now, Liam Paro, his IQ was high enough, and I think it was a little bit of, you know, Subriel being in his own backyard, smelling himself, him being, you know, doing a whole lot of activities leading up to that fight, and maybe not focusing in on Liam Paro the way he should, maybe not respecting him the way he should, because when you look at that fight with Liam Paro, he didn't really do anything spectacular, but he outworked Subriel. And Subriel Matias is a workhorse. When you talk about output, you talk about like David Benavidez, William Zepeda. He's up in there with that high output. You know, even if you think about a Leo Santa Cruz back in the day, he's in that high output. You know what I'm saying? Throwing, you know, 1,000, you know, punches and stuff like that. And he's not, he doesn't hit soft. You know what I'm saying? He might not got like one punch knockout power, but he do have thudding, like after a while it's going to hurt everywhere he touch you type. And Liam Paro was able to make him, you know, smother his punches. He was stopping them coming through the front door. You know, he wasn't letting them get maximum leverage on his punches. He was sticking and then pivoting out. He was tying them up. You know, it did become a little bit of a clinch fest, you know. So I'm not sure if Dalton Smith is going to do any of those things. But Dalton Smith is supposed to be this big puncher or whatever. He's supposed to be punching and shit. So he's going to be coming with all he got. But I think with the slippage, like with the news about the PEDs and then him being cleared, it was already a way for people like who were fans of other fighters in and around that weight class to be like, oh man, I knew something was up, because that really was just like, for him, I think that was really a scapegoat. Because at one point in time, we all know the name. We know he called out Devin. We know he called out Tio. We know he called out Rolly. When he was that guy, and he had the IBF at that time, and they all kind of was like, Tio tried to say he sent the offer. And, you know, they knew that Subriel, he was going through something with his hand at that point in time. And so they kind of like skirted around him. The only one that had been adamant about saying his name was Gary Antoine Russell. And just so happened, they actually lost on the same night. And I believe that was the night when Tank beat Frank. The two boogeymen lost. So what happened was, Gary Antoine was able to recertify and restamp his boogeyman card because he got edged. You know what I'm saying? I think that night when he fought Alberto Puello did the cleaner, more effective work, and he out-edged Gary. You know what I'm saying? Like, Puello is a surgical boxer, highly skilled, great feet. Doesn't have the most power in the world, but if he get to cranking up them uppercuts and them hooks and he, you know, timing you right, he can put you down. He definitely can drop you. But when he came back, Gary Antoine Russell, that is, after that loss, he was able to get a shot against El Rayo, Venezuela. He recertified his boogeyman card. If you think about it, which is not, it's not fair to the Russells that they do this, but they weaponize the Russells. Whenever they want to, like, because they use them like junkyard dogs or pit bulls, whenever they want to come out and have them say something, they sick them on whoever the boxer that they want to, like, they did it with Richards and Hitchens. They brought him out, gave him all these interviews. So, and I'm like, you know, that's not fair to Gary and them. And I'm shocked that they don't realize that that's what's happening to them when they do this. But whenever it's a boxer that they kind of want to threaten. They use Gary Antoine. Like nobody, I say this all the time, nobody just comes out and outright does videos on Gary Antoine Russell. I think I was one of the last people that came out and did a video, like a whole segment on Gary Antoine Russell, and really gave him his salutes and really, you know, shed light on him. And I've been doing that because that's been one of my boxes. But 140 division has been my division overall. So I kind of spotlighted them all in different increments. Like for one time I was on Sabril, spotlighting Sabril, and then I was spotlighting Gary Antoine at the same time. And I started spotlighting Richardson Hitchens. I was spotlighting T.O., you know, so I was spotlighting different fighters in the 140 division because 140 division, I called it the row. I've been calling it the row for like 3 years now, saying it's been the most competitive division in it. It's the bridge between lightweight and welterweight, and a lot of these guys not fighting at their weight class. And, you know, I believe it's the most competitive because if they discipline, they can go down to 35 and get it on. They can stay at 40 and have a good fight, or they can move up to 47 and look great as well. Great division. So I don't understand why the Russells don't understand that they're always being used as like a threatening, but they don't ever get the fights. Like y'all realize that? Like they never push Gary to actually get the fight. Like they never like put him up there like in the boxing sphere, because Gary Antoine is always almost like an afterthought when it comes down to making the big fights. It's like even with Devin, there was no push. Like for all the people that were saying he was whatever, there was never no push from not one Devin Haney fan to see him get in there with Gary Antoine Russell. Think about it. But they'll do that with a guy who has not had the same opportunities in Richardson Hitchens. They'll put Gary for him. They didn't do it with Gary and T.O. either. And Gary Antoine, he was saying that they were friends. But when he did that to Ryu, Gary Antoine is still living off of the victory of what he did to El Rayo. He has not fought since, but somehow, some way, his name gets pushed up there whenever somebody else is trying to unify or do something in the division. I'm like, that's not fair to that guy. If you're gonna support Gary, talk about Gary all the time. Let's help Gary get the big fight. Let's help Gary. That's why he's in my intro, to get the unification. But he re-stamped his boogeyman card. Why? Because they saw that performance against El Rayo, and they like, man, I ain't never seen Gary look like that, man. Like, man, that dude is a problem. Like, he's been a problem. Like, prior to the Puello, everybody that he fought, he stopped them, y'all. That's a known fact. Like, that's why I say it'd be a lot of fake ass fans. It'd be a lot of people that like, they want to shield their favorite fighter. They never talk about it. Because you notice how we never hear about Keyshawn and Gary Antoine? We never hear about Gary Antoine and Frank Martin. Like, but they'll use a Frank Martin. You know, it's just weird. Like, how y'all know how these boxing fans are. If you a fan of a fighter, I want to see them all. I'll say, man, line them up at 140 in any given night, even down to the Elvis Rodriguez's, the Alberto Puellos. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not going to go so hard on Richardson Hitchens when he come down to Lindelfo Delgado. Why? Because y'all shitted on all the man fights. Y'all allowed Keyshawn to outprice himself. Then y'all told Richardson he was asking for too much money. Then y'all allow Shakur to give Keyshawn to pull him up out of the mud and ride his coattails to get a fight with Jermaine Ortiz, which is a great fight, but like what you gonna say to Richardson? Y'all let Eddie shit on him. Nobody came out and like campaigned for him. But everybody want to become all of a sudden these Gary Antoine Russell fans when it come time to shit on Richardson Hitchens. Y'all don't make no sense in boxing. We should want them all to fight. All of them. We should have been behind Richardson when he was trying to get a unification with T.O. Now we getting a defense from T.O. against a guy in the fight that we want to see. But like, Shakur ain't at 140, and he don't got no plans on being at 140. It's still a good fight, but it's going to fuck up the division, y'all. So in order for Sabril to actually maintain his status, he has to go out here and he has to do something terrible to Dalton Smith. He got to recertify his boogeyman card. Why? Because a lot of people think he lost that Alberto Puello fight, myself included. And I'm a Sabril fan. I held him down for ages. But the way he dropped to his knees when that decision was called and all that, that was like, oh man, thank you. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And Puello won that fight, man. I mean, it's the same. It was typically just like that Jermaine Ortiz and that Jermaine Ortiz and Tio fight, to where, yeah, you know, on record, somebody won. It's just like that Boychuk and well, it's not quite like the Boychuk and Virgil, because he did drop Virgil twice, but it's the same thing where at the end of the fight, they call somebody's name and they raise their hand, but we know with our eyeballs who really won that fight. So I think that between that performance and how, you know, people can say that Subriel didn't necessarily take that strap from that champion. He was awarded that strap based on the activity and based on the fact that he brings the fight based on a style, which is how they've been judging for like the last 2.5, 3 years. The aggressor, they've been favoring the aggressor, even if it's not as effective, even if they fade, they've been favoring the aggressor. Like, that's why Pitbull, when in his fights, they favor that aggressive, even if it's not effective aggression, they still favor that because you're making the fight. So with that, and then, you know, the slip up of the PEDs and them changing the limits and all that, people have been trying to, other than the fact that Subriel has just been dangerous. So the fact that he's a dangerous fighter, the fact that your guy is not going to look good against, it's very hard to look good against Subriel Matias. He comes forward, he smothers you, he don't allow you to get yours off, he's hitting you, he's touching you everywhere, your hip, your ribs, your chin, top of your head, the back of your shoulder, your side, like he's just hitting you everywhere. So you're not gonna look good. You gotta have a hellified gas tank, and the fact that he's a tough out, so people are not lining up for their favorite fighter to fight him. The last performance against Alberto Puello, and then the PED thing, people are looking for him to recertify himself as that boogeyman. And I am too. You know what I'm saying? I am too. I want him to protect himself a little bit more. I know it's kind of hard, but I want him to protect himself a little bit more, man. I don't want to see Subriel keep getting hit the way he does, but I'm pulling for him, man. I hope he knocks motherfucking Dalton Smith's block off. You know what I'm saying? Block out! Andy Cruz might be next for greatness, y'all. Andy Cruz is quietly approaching a shot at a title. And it's against a guy named Morataya. And Morataya, he did his thing against Tevin Farmer. And he did his thing against, I think that was Abdullayev. The same guy who Andy Cruz had to fight the very next fight. I think that was the same guy. No, Moran, Andy had to fight Moran, and then he had to fight, who was that guy that, yeah, I think it was the guy who Devin got the knockout of the year. I think that was Moran. And, you know, Morataya, decent fighter, man. I like his mindset. You know, keep his nose clean. I know over there on Top Ring, I know Keyshawn, he wasn't trying to fight him. Shakur, he wasn't trying to fight him. But somehow, before Zepeda and all them other prospects, he wound up getting the strap. Loma didn't want to fight him. At one point in time, I was saying, man, who Loma gonna fight? Because he ain't gonna fight none of these young guns, and he didn't fight Morataya either. So all them guys over at Top Rank decided they wasn't gonna fight Morataya. Tevin Farmer had to come back after like a 3-year layoff and run the gauntlet, in which he fought Morataya, Zepeda. He gave everybody the looks they need and the work that they need for everybody to muster up all this courage. Cause you gotta think, Tevin Farmer fought Morataya, then went on to fight William Zepeda, dropped him, arguably beat him the first time, fought him again down there in Mexico. He kind of got beat up that last time. And then he went and fought young Schofield and got stopped in brutal, devastating fashion. He ran the gauntlet, man, at a ripe older age, off of 3 years inactivity. And none of these guys over there wanted to fight Mortalia. Shakur finally went ahead and fought Zepeda, but I mean, that was after he got worked out by Tevin Farmer and you got exposed all his flaws for you. Fighting up against a southpaw showed you everything you needed to see. So, you know, Mortalia is still a question mark on Mortalia because seeing him fight that upper echelon, we don't know like who he is really. We know that fundamentally, yeah, he got a decent amount of crack. Yeah, he can crack a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying this one punch knockout power. I think that Andy Cruz has, you know, good enough footwork to negate some of the leverage that Mortalia is going to have on them punches. And Andy Cruz is a skilled boxer. You know what I'm saying? He's so fluid. And once he started transitioning from that amateur style where he was throwing everything so fast, you know what I'm saying? Like he like once he slowed his roll and not just trying to touch you, and like now he's like actually like boxing and sitting down on some shit. He looking more and more dangerous. I don't want him to sit down too much. That's my only concern. I don't want him to, because Mortalia do have that kind of power to where if he touched Andy Cruz the right way, you know what I'm saying, and he get the, you know what I'm saying, he get the timing him and catching him a little bit, and Andy Cruz want to try to sit there and exchange a little bit more than what he should, Mortalia can definitely change the complexion of the fight. But what I'm looking at is an Andy Cruz who has quietly crept up. He did everything he was supposed to do. He went and got with a trainer outside of his comfort zone that was totally contrary to his fighting style. The amateur fencing style that he had, you know what I'm saying? He went and get with a Bozy to learn how to sit down on some shit. You know what I'm saying? But still be able to use his feet and stay mobile. You know, so he's been in the dungeon. He's been getting all that Philly work. I know it's been kind of crazy. I know he's been coming in there. He's been coming in there giving them crazy work. I wish they would interview him more. I wish he would, you know, pick up a page from Canelo's book, man, and, you know, speak the English a little bit more, man, because that would bode so much well. He would go a lot farther, a lot faster amongst the people if they can get a little bit of his personality, speak English. But quiet as kept, with the limited number of fights that he has, he now has a shot at a title. And I think he's going to pass. I hope he is. And when he do, I don't think he's going to be one of them guys that's going to try to shy away. I don't think he's going to be going around asking for all kind of tune-ups and you know, easy works and all that, you know, because he was caught. Think about it. He's been chasing Keyshawn. He's been saying, that's my son. So this big bad wolf that we're going to talk about tonight, you know what I'm saying? Like one of the people that we're going to talk about, well, not directly, because we're going to talk about what Tim Bradley said. But Andy Cruz is getting ready like have his rite of passage. Just like the young Abdullah Mesa, in that division is gonna have a totally different complexion, y'all. And I'm here for it, man. I like Andy Cruz. Aaron Jones. What it is, fam? What you mean by the title? If you don't mind me asking, fill me in on the topic. Oh, he's getting ready to fight. When you put that in here, 9:38. Oh, that's been a minute ago. Oh, if you still, it was 9:38. I don't know how long ago that was. I don't know what I was saying at that point. I wasn't looking at the comments, y'all. But Andy Cruz get the title shot with Mortalia. Because if we look at it, if that's what you were talking about. But let's look at the landscape. The landscape, it kind of changed. You know, it's been the same, but it's changed. But Mortalia got the IBF. Andy Cruz is getting a shot at that IBF. And so the division, man, division is shaping up, man. Like these guys, they gonna have to mix it up. Tank and Tank. Hopefully we get Tank and Shakur. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's gonna come a point in time where you have to see all of them guys mix it up. I don't care who's your favorite. I don't care who you like. I don't care who you don't like. We about to have to see them all mix it up. What's up, Bodywork? Hope you good. Jose Rodriguez. Salute, Jose. Salute, Aaron Jones. But yeah, that's the housekeeping, man. That's something that's been on my mind, you know. I didn't want the 31st to get packed anymore, so I guess that's you know, that's kind of bittersweet. I do want to see Maul get back because the clock is ticking. But I didn't want the 31st to be packed that much. I think we got enough with, you know, the Shakur and T.O. fight, and then the Bakram and Josh Kelly fight, you know, the Keyshawn and Jermaine Ortiz fight. We got enough on that day to suffice, but I am concerned that we're not hearing anything. Like, I'm not hearing anything about the Fondor stuff. I'm not hearing anything about Maul. I'm not hearing anything about Mel. We keep getting teased about Earl, but that's why I wanted to talk about that. What you think about Xander versus Baru fight? I was, you know, I'm kind of impressed by Xander, man. For y'all who don't know Baru, this is who we talking about. The guy, that's Abbas Baru, the guy on the far right. Next to him is Bakram Murtazaliev. Next to him is Xander, and then next to him, of course, is Fondora. But I like Xander. He impressed me against Chino Perez. I was slipping on because I don't, you know, Xander. He don't look like he got like really no power, but it looked like his skills and his footwork can give people problems. Like, he might be a wild card. He might really be a wild card. And Abbas Baru, I'm not gonna fake like I know everything about him. I do like the fact that they didn't rob him in that last fight. And I think he did a thorough job against Tejas. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking forward to that fight. That's an interesting fight, especially since them guys just had them. They both got belts the last fight, and then they're unifying again. It's very, very rare that you see that, unless it was already in the making and people was already established and, you know, stuff like that. Like with Stan Giannis and Boots had. Like, it was like they was already on the clock, you know what I'm saying? So they wasn't gonna pussy for the round, but like, I like it. Besides Xander versus Baru, the whole card is trash. Yeah, I hadn't heard much about that either. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of disappointed in that too. I wasn't happy. I think I ain't even get no warm and fuzzies about that either, man. Like, when I saw that. So yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted
what's up, AC?
What's good, bro? Salute to everybody in the chat and everything. I spoke with a couple of dudes over from Europe, just random dudes that popped up on different panels and stuff like that. And I asked one guy, I said, "You over there, I just heard you talking big about Abbas Baru. Like, us over here in America, we don't know this dude like that. We saw basically one fight with him. He came out of basically nowhere. But we're hearing even from Xander's side that this guy is tough. He's this, he's that. And they like, you know, on your side, Abbas, like on your side, y'all wouldn't know him. But on our side, the people that Abbas fought were all, you know, like super tough competitors, wins or losses. These are not the guys that you want to kind of like get in there and start your career on and stuff like that. So, you know, he was just mentioning some of these guys, and I was like, I have no idea who you're talking about on his resume. But if, you know, if y'all over there in Europe got him as, you know, your heir apparent as far as, you know, what's happening at at the 54 division, and I ain't gonna lie to you. From a dude I spoke to in Scotland to a dude I spoke to in Australia to a dude I spoke to in the UK, all three of these guys were unanimous that Abbas Baru is the guy to take over the 154-pound division. Wherever the fuck they get that from, that's like, okay.
Well, I know he was an Olympian. I mean, just anybody. I mean, unless your country is like 10 people deep, like just anybody can't go. But I mean, you know, we might be in for a treat. He might be the dark horse. You know, I mean, because like being unknown could be, you know, I know I like what I saw with him in Tez. You know, I didn't see that much nimbleness of the foot, but he definitely can box. You know what I'm saying? He can box. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, I was impressed a little bit by what he did to Tez, even though I wasn't that high on Tez. I thought he was kind of getting rushed along a little bit, but you know, maybe we got a treat in the box.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing this fight to see if he can put together something consistent. Because you beat a Tellez, and then you turn around and beat a Xander. That's saying a lot right there. You're just coming out and you're doing, you know, you're pulling a Bakram / Tim Tszyu on everybody. You just kind of like come out of nowhere and you just beating some solid names. And if he does it impressively, it is what it is. So, you know, I just don't want to hear the excuse that if Boss wins, oh, well, Xander wasn't this. He was the weakest champ. Xander, you know, Bear did this because the guy he beat wasn't all of that great, because the guy he beat up, you know, an overrated Charles Conwell. You know how they're going to go back and try to justify a whole bunch of weird stuff and then pull up all of these weird narratives. So, you know, that's the part that I'm afraid of. And then the bigger names want to ride on that. Like, yeah, I still want to see him do a little bit more. It's like, what? The fuck else does he need to do? Like, come on, man. At first, it's y'all don't want to go over there and see the man over there with the IBF because the rehydration and shit like that. But he's not a boogeyman. So which one is it? Is he a weight bully, or is he a fuck? Or are you guys weight bullies, or is he an actual boogeyman? Well, I don't know, because people are rushing to try to say, you know, he's a boogeyman. I ain't seen it. So then why aren't these other guys, and why didn't Bully directly challenge that dude? If you're going to tell me you Roy Jones-esque, you're a descendant of him, you're a clone, you're you know, Batman Beyond, where they, you know, managed to take blood from other fights that, you know, Roy Jones had and found the perfect body match to Roy Jones to put into Bozy Ennis, and Bozy Ennis, you know, gives birth to the semi fucking, you know, clone of Roy Jones, but his name is Boots Jerron. Are you telling me some big conspiracy like that around the guy? Is that around Virgil? Like, come on, man, stop this bullshit. You know,
don't get me started on them two. They deserve each other more and more. I was like, why Boots want that telemate? Now I'm like, man, y'all deserve each other, man. Like, I mean, but to answer Jose's question, they do have sparring history, bro. So I do know that they have been talking about it, and they've been saying that they sparred multiple times. So it's familiarity. So it's gonna be one of them things to where it could be different. It could be how because Boychuk and Virgil had sparring history. And we see how that turned out, where one person was confident going in and on the big bright lights with the smaller gloves and the no headgear. We seen what happened, and we seen who got their hand raised, but we seen what happened in that fight. So, you know, I think this is an underrated fight because of their history, because of, you know, we don't typically see right off the bat a unification as soon as you get a strap.
I just want to double down on the fact that if anybody's out here feeling as though Xander is just gonna run through him because you don't really know too much about a boss Peru. That could be a real possibility. But I would ask you to go back and look at what Xander says about a boss Peru and what he realizes that he's up against. Xander is talking in a way of my game plan, me staying confident and focused and having a strong game plan is going to get me through this tough fight. So that tells you, you know, skill wise, he may have some stuff in the back of his head from the time that he did spar. So for me, what my biggest takeaway, and I haven't seen a lot about Faraz, I don't know this dude, but my biggest takeaway was boxer to boxer, you may feel a boss got the best of you the times y'all sparred. So you're hoping on the fact of a great game plan and the fact that the game plan is effective enough that it allows you to stay focused and make those adjustments for when shit gets tough. You need to have answers for some of the stuff this guy may or may not bring to the table. So that's what it sounds like to me. Like, but there is also that air of him feeling he's gonna win the fight. But there is that thing that making me feel like there's some part of whatever's going on he's questioning based on their past experiences. So some with some fighters, they have stone faces and can deliver what they're saying in a manner that nothing ever makes you doubt them. Perfect example, Brian Norman Jr. and the way he talked, the way he approached Devin Haney, the way he spoke to Devin Haney to his face. Everyone who saw this young man was believing that he believes what he's saying. In that interview, it seemed as though there was a line to where Xander was willing to believe it, but he also believes in his camp, that his camp is going to deliver him the right game plan that'll help him win the fight. So that's what I'm trying to say.
And since we on it, it make a lot of sense too, I say. But since we on it, apparently Speedy Rashidi, and I'm gonna address what you said, Jose, here in 1 second before we get into the meat and potato. Speedy Rashidi is announcing that he's I guess he's at 154. I guess he's committing at 154. He's basically saying anybody can get it. Like, he named some names. He said Charlo, he said Boots, he said Virgil. He named some names. So Speedy, I guess Speedy finally said, I guess he kind of feels some kind of way about that last opportunity with that stuff that Eddie did, sending that contract late, you know, and then them turning it down, them at the midnight hour saying yeah, and then Eddie saying, well, we already moved on, like doing the Eddie Hearn stuff. So he's committed to 54. So I can't even have him in this. He's not even part of this conversation anymore right here, because I had him on here between the 40s and the 47s, but he's at 54 now. So, or so he says. But let me ask you a question, because something that Jose said. He said, it's crazy. I used to get on Boots for Duck and Virgil, but now it looks like the other way around. You know, I'm not even playing. I'm not gonna play devil's advocate, but I'm gonna look at it from a business perspective. And I know people don't like when fans do this, but we got to do this. At the time when Boots announced that he was going to move up to 154, people who were already at 154, unless it was some, you know, boxing, like the boxing insiders where they already know like the insider stuff, and fans and people who are not in the know, people outside the vest don't know. Nobody knew he was going up to 54. He had turned down a fight with Virgil, saying it was some funny stuff, and no, I want to be undisputed. And so everybody was like, oh, okay. And then when he went out there and did what he did to Stan Giannis, people, it made it even more believable. Like, oh, okay, well, he definitely won undisputed. Like what was it, the day before Norman was getting ready to fight Sasaki, he moved up to 54. Everybody else up there had plans. Because remember, Virgil had left because the rhabdomyolysis, and him and Stan Giannis, they were supposed to get it on 3 times. One time appendicitis, Stan Giannis got. The other 2 times rhabdomyolysis on Virgil, and that's when Virgil said, "You know what? I might unalive myself trying to do this again." And he moved up to 54. Not only did he move up, but he moved up and got busy. He got Boychuk, he got the nod on that, but he got some other dude. He got Boychuk, he got Madrimov, and then he got what's his name? The Hammer, Lubin. But he has the interim title to Fundora strap. Now, if you didn't have the luxury like Boots, where you had a strap already, because he had to move up, and then from 40 to 47 to 54, Virgil has never had a strap. If you know you in the catbird seat to get a strap, is it ducking if you saying, "No, I'm next up. I'm getting this guy got a belt like you"? Yeah, I mean y'all trying to fluff me on the money. Y'all saying just take it or leave it, and it's just a big fight and do it for the fans. It's like, yeah, but you had a belt. They saying you the heir apparent to you the next Bud Crawford. I've never had a strap. Is it ducking if I say I've never had a strap and I'm gonna stay right here in this catbird seat and get my shot at the winner of Keith and Fundora? Like, is that ducking? Because I remember I said this before. We gotta have a criteria. Just because your favorite content creator came out here and said they ducking, it's because everybody and their mother out here trying to blame the manager and try to do all this. It's like, well, show me the money. Because I recall Ben Whitaker coming out saying, show me the money, and they made this big deal, and it was all this money. Now all of a sudden, ain't no money for Boots and Virgil can't get what he wants, and he's supposed to give up his interim title shot to go risk it with Boots. When he got Fundora right there, he could just wait and get a Fundora, and he did what he needed to do. He didn't have this has been his 5th fight at 4th or 5th fight at 154 now, if my memory serves me correct. So is that ducking? Or do we need a criteria? We're gonna do it. Hey, see, remind me, we gotta do a criteria for ducking. We gotta go through duckology. What's a strategic duck? Like, we gotta do that. We gotta stamp that early in the year, because I'm not just gonna be labeling certain people duck. Like, I mean,
now, you've heard me say on that, based on what I heard Eddie say after the Wisma Lima fight. Honestly, Virgil and Boots is not happening no time soon. Because Eddie already told y'all it's a bigger fight if they both have a belt. So sometimes it makes me laugh, to whereas you watch the press conference after, you saw the drama. Everybody saw the drama inside the ring. So nobody decided to watch the press conference. That's somewhat what it feels like. So everybody watched the drama in the ring,
the big drama,
and then did a show. But completely forgot everything that Eddie was saying. That's why when I constantly say it makes me feel a little weird that depending on what panel I'm on and who's on the panel and how they feel about whoever, even panels that I've been on where they're guys heavy favorites of Boots, it's this awkward silence of people that I don't know what he's talking about. What is he talking about? And I'm like, go back and look at it. It's one dude that keeps asking these weird questions. He just comes out of there and they're like, no. We're not going to do that. But then the dude asks a question that Eddie wants to respond to, that Eddie winds up telling on himself and really fumbling the bag on trying to build this whole thing up and do the same thing that they did with Brian Norman by placing all of this blame and saying, no, you're ducking. We sent you offers. The man just told you before all of that bullshit started no, the fight's not going to happen. It makes more sense if they both have a belt, and that's the path that we're pursuing. We'd rather Virgil have a belt than we have Boots have a belt, because what's in it? Where's the money at right now? The money is in a unification with these two guys. And when he said stuff like that, you know, even the people who said I watched it, it's like, okay, so if you watched it, what part of that are you neglecting for the clicks? Because you want to go with one narrative. Yeah, they got in the ring and yada, 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 but you don't want to listen to the honest words of Eddie Hearn, or told you how he's actually going to move him, and how we may see a future bout in 3 years between Ben Whitaker and Boots.
Man, that man is a salesman. But what I'm going to say is this: see, we like the details. We like to get all in the nooks and the crannies, and go over everything and know all of these. Like other fans, they hide behind. We don't care about all that. We just want to see the fight. It's like, yeah. You want to see Virgil get beat up? I understand.
Yeah,
I understand. But like, this is my thing. I'm committed to not being a tool this year. I'm not going to be a tool for these guys who I support to use me to do their bidding. And I'm asking y'all as fans to not do that. Be more responsible. Think about it as if you were in those shoes. Now, we can want to see the fights all day, but since when has us wanting to see the fights gotten us to fight?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to do is help lower your blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? Help your sugar out. Because I know when you stress, you get to binge eating them cookies and them cakes, but your blood pressure getting all high because your favorite content creator, along with Eddie Hearn, sold you a dream. And it don't make sense. Why? Because we've been triangulating Eddie. We've been studying his behavior. We know his patterns. I can tell you when Eddie's lying. I can say, oh, no, I don't know why y'all getting y'all. I told y'all don't let Oscar get you all riled up. Like when Jason's lyric, when she said, don't get me all riled up if you can't hose me down. Y'all let Oscar get y'all all riled up, and he tells you. And they say what a key indicator for the future is past performance. Like you can judge a lot from past behaviors. Like that's how they catch serial killers. Like that's how and I'm into that all of that. But past behaviors will predict future things unless something critically changes. And there's a plethora of things that Eddie has done. There's a plethora of things that Oscar has done. And they do the same things. It's just how they package and who you like. If you like Oscar, who come out and tell you, hey, listen, man, I know how to build the fighters, but when you look at the history of a lot of his major guys, they had to come by and damn near punch Oscar in the ribs to get a fight.
Yeah.
Like they had to take it. They had to storm it. Like, but whether they talked about it or not, I know when you got an interim strap and you're next up for the title and people saying you've never had a title, I do know that you want to become that at some point. You done made money. You can make money based on the demographic that supports you in the geographical area that you in. And the fact that you got a Earl Spence in your back pocket at any point in time, for real, like whenever he decide, hey, we're gonna do this, you got a bag, you got more notoriety, you got something to where you're gonna get some fame from. I just think that for me, a lot of people are allowing Eddie to use them to do their bidding. I'm not doing that this year.
Yeah,
like, you're not just going. You're not. Well, I'm gonna wrap up one step.
My bad.
But you're not going to get me to go out here and just keep doing content about how Virgil is ducking when he announced that he was moving up. He fought several fights, and he has fought himself into a position where he has the interim title for the main strap. Like if he didn't do that and it was just a bunch of pussyfooting around, we already knew Virgil. That wasn't something they were running to look for when he said, I need 48 months. This is old news. So, but go ahead, AC.
I was gonna say this to piggyback off of one of the points that you just said. Is when you talk about the business side of it, right? When you're talking about the business side, Virgil having a belt fits Oscar De La Hoya's narrative of, oh, we're the A side. If he gets that belt way before Boots and stuff like that, and that fight just somehow makes it manifest itself once Virgil got this belt, guess who's the A side? The guy with the belt. So he's gonna demand that. So outside of that, that's how we have to do it. Now, I just wanted to address our good buddy Jose. Yeah, Jose, I look at it like this. A broken clock is right twice a day. I don't have to believe 99% of the stuff that Eddie Hearn says. But the things that I choose to believe is when he contradicts himself. Believe the thing that on the side of the contradiction. I told you this, but realistically, we have to look at it this in the business of boxing and what makes more sense. That's when you know he's speaking honest. When he's just speaking in hyperbole, oh, Jerome Boots Ennis is a great fighter. We want all the big fights. You know, like they say, we're not ducking any smoke and yada, yada, yada. Okay, you're doing your promoter stuff. But when you're asked a specific question about Virgil versus Boots, and you give us a dynamic of how you want that fight to be built, whether we like it or not, whether Boots likes it or not, Boots and his daddy will understand. And they'll play the game, but they understand everything that man said just makes more sense than a little bit. If we're going to ask for the money that we want, we both better have a belt. Or one of us better have a belt. And at the end of the day, there is no reason to tell me that Virgil is willing to give up his spot for his first title, regardless of what that man says. You know what? The belts to a certain, I don't really concern myself. I just want to make the big fights. Well, you know what that belt does? Adds 3 more zeros to whatever the fuck you thought you was going to get.
And look, to address Aaron Jones, he said, bro, Eddie Hearn told the whole black boxing community he was going to make Devin Haney versus Gary Russell just for him to make Devin versus Gamboa. Laughing my ass off. And the thing was, they used Gary's namesake and how Gary is, because Gary can sell a fight just from him talking shit. And we know he's nice with these. He's one of the nicest to ever lace him up with this. 6 years, 352 days he reigned as a champ. And everybody who came up and through there ducked him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to digress from that. But the thing was, they used Gary and Gamboa was already signed. Like, that was already done. Like, Bill, like, that's why people, they forget. They forget so much. I can pull it up where Bill basically said, where Gary basically said, hey, Bill, I talked to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why you ain't let me know something? He was like, listen, man, basically the number wasn't right. He's like, but you could have told me, Bill. He was like, and Bill got quiet. It was that awkward silence because Bill knew he got caught up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Gamboa was already a done deal. That's why I say, the way these venues work, in order to book a venue, you got to sell it with the people that have the venue that you got, whatever you got going on, and it's going to be valuable. And if the network is behind it and they're putting it on, they got to know who you're fighting. So you can do all of the in-street, all of the YouTube promotion you want, but behind closed doors, the venue got to be booked. And they already got to know, so that the money is there and everybody get paid. They got to know who's fighting so they know how they can sell it and have a plan to walk it out. That's why I'm not going to let these content creators influence me to forget about the business aspect. That's why it has helped me a lot. That's why I don't even get too excited about certain shit no more, because it don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? But what was I going to say? But to answer Jose's question, you said, let me see. You said, but I get what you're saying, Bodywork, but why have Virgil never pushed for a fight with Fundora? And my answer is because they don't have no leverage in that. That's a PBC thing, and Fundora is already like pretty much established between his sister's fan base, between his fan base, that being one of Samson's fighters, Samson being behind David Benavidez and all that. They got Coachella. They got that him being the Tower Inferno. They got all of that, so he'll give up all his leverage. Oscar already know they're gonna have to come hat in hand when it come down to booking the fight with Fundora, and they can't throw their weight around the way they are right now against Boots because of the fan base and the demographic. It's like, well, he Mexican too, so he got that same fan base and more because he's already the champ. That's just add water. That's pretty much like, hey, this is what we gonna do. This is what you get. This is what I'm getting. Let's do it. And that's your title shot and whatever bag it is, which is gonna be a nice, handsome bag because that's still a big fight. And he don't have to do anything. All he gotta do is wait and not lose, and wait and let the sanctioning body order the fight.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like he you know what I'm saying? He don't gotta do but so much. It's like it won't for me, and trust me, I know I sound like I'm saying no, Virgil, don't go fight Boots. I'm not saying that. My whole thing is this. I'm not catering to Boots getting like tailor-made suits. I'm not doing that no more. I don't want to see him fight nobody that's tailor-made for him no more. So I don't give a fuck about the fight. For real. I already know Boots, if it's gonna be like Romain Villa or Majestan Giannis, it's gonna be the same result with Virgil. Might be worse. You know what I'm saying? Because Virgil might have a little bit of that Tim Tszyu in him where he gonna keep going, reaching his hand in the cookie jar the same way, pattern recognition, and Boots gonna smack that shit out of the park. So I'm not doing it. I'm just saying, I'm looking at it like, hold on. Virgil grabbed his nuts, moved up first, fought more fights, and then got in a position to where he's next in line for the title. It'd be dumb as hell for me as a fan to say, no, you shouldn't do that. You should give that up and go get obliterated by Boots. Like, they're not gonna use me this year. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I got used enough. I already be ghostwriting people's content for them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that as well and give these motherfuckers ideas to use my shit in another way to do their bidding in another way. Like, I'm not doing it this year. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Jones said they used the shit out of Gary. And he kind of fell for it. Yeah, they still kind of do in the interviews. Yeah, I remember that fight was already signed. What's up, Melazar? Salute, man. You feeling better? But Virgil has been the interim for 2 years. I just don't get it. I don't buy Virgil.
And that's the whole thing. Hopefully I'm off mute, but that's the whole thing I wanted to bring up because there was that point. It was like a short, like maybe 48-hour cycle where there was rumblings of Virgil and Ortiz trying to, Virgil and Fundora trying to establish something. So maybe we could have gotten a potential fight, yada yada yada. And I believe this was when Fundora still had the WBO, when it was that whole mix of who was Fundora gonna fight? Was it gonna be Bud, Errol? You know, I heard like I don't put any stock into it because I think I saw it from like Mike Carpenter or something like that. Within the boxing rumors, there supposed to be rumors of Virgil talking to Fundora, and that shit lasted like either 24 or 48 hours, no validity. Everybody that was coming out was like, nah, that's cap. That's definitely not happening. Dudes is not talking, yada yada yada. So whether that was true or not, who knows? But there was that little tiny brief moment. We've had moments like that back in the day with boxing, when they were supposed to be Theo versus Ryan, way back when both of them dudes was at 35 and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just probably one of those type of rumors, but the way I kind of look at it now is I'm rocking with Eddie Hearn right now. Not in saying I'm rocking with his actions or anything, but I'm rocking with the fact that he was like, for him, the fight is bigger. It's more attractive if both of them have a belt. So they're gonna do all of this kind of stuff, keep the fight relevant, try to drop little Easter eggs and say, well, yeah, put this rumor out. We did send a contract to somebody, and then it's gonna make the guys go through it. Yeah, but you heard he had a contract. Okay, when the fuck is there a contract without term sheets? Did you ever hear of anything like that happening before this so-called contract happened? Oh, but we don't know. We're not in the room. Yeah, that's why they do this type of shit, man. They get everything.
It's just they making us do their bidding.
Yeah,
They're making us do their bidding, man. I'm
yeah,
not
to keep
doing
the
that.
fight alive, to keep the fight alive, to keep
Yeah.
the fight relevant. So when they finally announce it, you know what I'm saying? And more than likely, like I'm saying, I still believe it's gonna be when they get a belt. At the end of the day, I believe it's when both of these guys get a belt. If it should happen prior to that, then that means the demands are right there, and maybe they might be trying to set these guys up for a rematch when they do have the belts.
And I'm gonna say something else that's not gonna be popular. This is not gonna be popular, but I believe that Boots, his shelf life is longer than Virgil's. That's one. And you can't tell me, you can't convince me. I don't care if your favorite content creator say this or not. You can't tell me that a fight between Virgil and Errol Spence is not more intriguing than a fight with Boots and Virgil. Because I'm gonna say this: this is not Tank versus Shakur. That's not that. That's not like, because Tank versus Shakur is like Bud versus Spence. Like that's like the anticipation where it's like, okay, out of that division, out of the lightweights, who like before it's too late, before it's all over, they got to get this done. Boots and Virgil is not that to me. Boots to me, this Virgil and Boots, that's like a tailor-made guy. That's another. Yes, it got the blue, it got the green print, Mexican versus black and all that. But like, what's more intriguing? Even though I don't necessarily want to see Earl come back, but what's more intriguing is all of the X factor. People will be like, like Earl.
When
like,
you look at it,
they don't know. People will actually be more interested in actually seeing that. Like they're like, it's not, and it's nothing against Boots. I don't want y'all to think that this is against Boots by any means. But like, I'm like, aren't y'all tired of this bullshit? Like, look at what Andy Cruz is getting ready to fight for a title. How many fights do Andy Cruz got?
7, maybe 8.
Abdullah Mason already got a title. Raymond Mortaya already got a title. Like Boots is like, I mean, he long in the tooth. He's been getting a steady diet of people coming up and moving up. I mean, if they can't find enough money to pay people to get in the ring with them, that's Eddie and them fault. Like, we didn't tell them go sign with Eddie. We were trying to say, go get with the PBC and line it up like that. You would have been at least another option to make fights in and around, and you didn't do that. You chose your fate by going with Eddie. He paid you a bunch of bread. He made you a household name somewhat. He gave you all these backyard fights, but you could have got the glory that Devin just got for spiking Brian Norman. You didn't do that. You decided to arbitrarily just jump up and move up at an inopportune time. I am not fighting to get you nothing now. Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, I like the way you fight. Yeah, you got all the skill. You a Lamborghini. I want to see you up against the other Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? Not the Porsches instead. I want to see you up against the Ferrari, another Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see you against the other exotic cars, like the Mercedes Alievs, the shit where we haven't seen this movie. I want to see movies that ain't been made yet. We seen you against the flat-footed pressure come forward fighter. We seen that. You smack that shit out the park. I want to see something different from Boots. So I don't feel bad about it no more.
It's like, how many Fast and Furious movie sequels can we actually stand?
Yeah, like,
you know what I'm saying? Because after a while, the writing is just gonna be crazy. Like, you can't top what you did in the last one. So basically, I wanted to say it like this: when you think about Errol Spence's style versus Virgil's style, you know, you automatically look at that fight. If you know both the guys, you say that's Abdullah Mason, Frank Knowles. They're gonna be right there, shoulder to shoulder, either head to head. You know what I'm saying? Just in the phone book, letting it rock. Because
Virgil be a slight variation of a Mexican standoff. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, because Virgil he's not gonna back down, and Errol is just gonna close that distance, which both of them really want. So that fight is just gonna be crazy, crazy. So if I think about the Boots versus Virgil, tailor-made guy, pretty much after the second or third round, you start to get up and go put the food away in the kitchen. You're basically listening for the you feel what I'm saying? So you putting the food away, you clearing off the table, you like, yeah, this ain't gonna be what it is. So let me just start packing this shit up. Yeah, this is already over. And you just wind up waiting for the big O. So if you don't get the O, then it's like, yeah, he just gonna beat this dude the fuck up for 12 rounds. So yeah, let me start to clean off the living room table, put some of the alcohol away, dump the ice out of the bucket that we had the alcohol in, all that kind of shit, man. So that's the way I see that fight going, because one guy is so tailor-made. And where I was trying to give Virgil credit in that is, if Virgil can hone where we're seeing these glimpses of this Maidana type of style of boxing, where he just really gets up on you and he lets it go from weird angles and shit like that, these weird overhook, over the top hooks and downward punches and shit like that, it might make it interesting, because I don't think Boots has ever really faced something like that, to where he can't control a distance and he don't know where the shots is coming from, because the way he trains in a methodical way. So I think that's the only way the fight becomes interesting. So, but I don't know if Virgil is going to try to stick with that style that I think is his to own in this generation, and I think he'll be a problem if he goes ahead and runs with that style.
See, the issue with that fight is he can't outbox Boots.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be right there for Boots to just maximum leverage tee off on him. And the other thing is this. Virgil he's already taken more punishment. He's already had more wear and tear. Like, he had the rhabdomyolysis thing that he went through, then he moved up. And then he kind of went through the ringer with Boychuk. He got in that scrap where he got, kind of hit, and what I'm saying, by Madrimov. Even though he did his thing, he got a little busted up. He had surgery. It's just like Boots. He ain't. What kind of adversity we seen? We ain't seen Boots. Boots came up and obliterated Lehman. A minute and a half or some shit. 2 minute drill in and out like a robbery. He ain't had no wear. He ain't been through, like, it's been easy peasy lemon squeezy for this man. So I'm like, I'm done with it. Like, if find a channel that want to promote that shit, I'm not gonna promote it. I don't care if they get it made, they get it made. I'm gonna watch. You know what I'm saying? But like, trying to sell it and make people feel bad and try to make Virgil and them feel bad, I'm not doing all that shit, because we need to put more pressure on the heir apparent. We need to put more pressure on the new Roy Jones, the next Terrence Crawford. Like, we need to put more pressure on that guy, the same way we do Tank. So, but let's get to the meat and potatoes, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe Andy Cruz will become champion, because that's why I picked him up. Yeah. I like Andy, man. Andy got personality. I wish he speaking the English a little bit more, but I'll still work with what he got, man, because I think he got he's an entertaining style. I've never heard somebody say he's boxing. I've never seen a boring fight from him. I've never even seen really a real lull in action. I'm just sitting there looking like, man, look, I like the way he move. I like his style. Like, it's fan friendly. Even though he's a pure boxer, he's learning leverage, he's learning power, he's learning how to sit down on stuff. Even with that pure boxing style, it's still intriguing to watch. Like, it's like, dang, I don't want to get up and go use the bathroom when he's fighting. You know what I'm saying? I want to be like, oh, okay, all right. Then as soon as they say, then I'm off to the rest to go take a piss, and then then I'm back. I don't want to leave. Sometimes with these other guys, I'll be like, what round is this? The third? All right. My babe will holler out at me, or I could pretty much see in the room anyway when I could pretty much look and be like, oh, ain't nothing going on. But Andy ain't like that. I want to sit there and see him, so I'm excited about that. But This is the Pulse of Boxing, y'all. And again, I wanted to share my mind and how I be looking at things and how I be analyzing things, because I do not want to seem like I'm pessimistic. I do not want to seem like I'm pulling and tearing down my own people. My only thing is my people are my concern. So when I see and hear them say stuff, I be like, what? I be feeling like Dave Chappelle with the what when he was doing Lil Jon. Okay, like what? That's how I be feeling. So I got a couple of those today, and we're gonna run through them. I'm gonna get AC's opinion on it, and I'm like, is this what we are as box? Is this what boxing is coming down to today? So let's start off with an easy one. Let's start off with a lob. This is a lob right here. This is a lob. Schofield Sr. The man came on and said we need 10 to 50 million to fight the big names. So specifically, he was saying he needed $10 million to fight Abdullah Mason. And I'm like, bruh, in an era before Abdullah Mason actually had a strap, you were offered $1 million payday, and you said no. Only to turn around and say you need 10 to 50 million dollars in my Dr. Evil voice. $1 million. Like what? So this is my thing. I'm trying not to disrespect the man, but he do have, he do be kind of having that feminine energy. But I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be respectful of him. I'm trying to say, okay, all right, because I got a son. You know what I'm saying? He's not a boxer. He's a football player, and I'm like, if I were talking to my son, or if I were representing my son, or if I had to be in a position of him, I would want the respect of a father doing business with this, with my son, trying to make him be the next whatever, trying to make him become a millionaire, household name, generational wealth, never be broke another day in your life, that kind of stuff. But you gotta think, when we seen you had us all hyped up when y'all basically was saying y'all got the blueprint and all of this stuff, and y'all basically like, yeah, y'all basically tricked Shakur into actually getting the fight and doing all these things, and then just like Jason's lyric, y'all got us all revved up, but you couldn't hose us down. You know what I'm saying? And y'all pulled out. Now AC got a theory that I tend to side with. I tend to say, yeah, you got that tap on the shoulder. It's not your time, B. Live to fight another day. And then you even got a battle worn Tevin Farmer, who had to go fight Raymond Danger Moritalia and then go fight William Zepeda. El Cameroon, I think they call him. Twice. And then you get him served up on the platter and you obliterate him. But then you go with the big head again. And I'm like, this wasn't that time when you pulled out from Shakur. That wasn't the first time you pulled out from a fight. You pulled out from a fight when you were supposed to fight H2O. And H2O wound up fighting what's his name? Body, and got body. But you pulled out of that fight. You pulled out of like 3 fights. So I'm like, hold on, your pullout game. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised you got a son with that kind of pullout game, and that's what we're starting. Like, you started to make me nervous to where I'm like, yeah, when they say ding, 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 when I see them getting ready to do the ring walk, that's when I know it's real for you, because I'm tired of being emotionally, intellectually, boxingly invested in your fights, and you keep playing these games with us. So I'm like, this is a different level of delusion, thinking that one, that he hasn't made anything like that so far to demand that or whatever. Two, you turned down Abdullah Mason. Now you saying you want a title shot with him and $10 million. And so I'm guessing the 10 to 50 is for anybody, what, like name Tank or something like that? Like, since you in line for that? You see something.
Bro, let me say it like this. When I gathered a first interview of where he was saying this stuff, and it looked like it was on Mill City, and Mill City's expression, like he couldn't even look up in the camera because his face was like, the fuck is this dude talking about? $10 million to fight Abdullah Mason? Like, here's the funny part. Body, we spoke of coming out with the price, and that's your start negotiating point.
He was taking notes big time. God damn.
Word to mother, that's where I was getting ready to go, cause bro, you was like, yeah. So if we start off at a no starter high, they gotta meet us at what we actually really want. And if that's your philosophy, you just have to go back and listen to yourself, say it out loud a couple of times, even record it, and say, what did I say in the beginning? To start off with a non-starter number. No one negotiates off a non-starter number. $10 million for where you two are at. I don't give a fuck. Like Abdullah, Abdullah's not even there. Even factor in the Sam Noakes fucking fight. He would need at least 7 more of them shits to equal the money you're asking for your son. So then what would Abdullah Mason get paid? So your son is not that star. That's the very definition of, how the fuck do I say this? Chronic delusionality. Like, they need to have like a whole new sector of delusion for what you just actually put out there, and you doubling, tripling down on it. Like, people are gonna start to gravitate towards that and say, well, if that's what he think his son is worth, then I don't know why Mason and them can't do it. Then are you actually thinking people are gonna say Abdullah Mason is ducking your son off of a $10 million request, instead of going back and then blaming you for the $1 million request that you and your son turned down?
Listen to this, y'all. I'm gonna use. I gotta put this out. But now this is a guy. This is how hilarious they are. And this is a guy, and he sounds spot on. This is just how the father be sounding. And this is not Schofield, but he sounds just like him. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Even my lady was laughing. Now this is for fair use, man. Fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to infringe upon anybody, but I do not own this. I just think that this shit is hilarious. So I'm gonna play it. So
Shakur ain't no Tank. Since we being honest, let's be honest. Cause Shakur ain't no Tank. Who did Shakur fight? Cause my boy, Floyd Schofield is the best, hands down. And I kept telling y'all that. We want the fight with Tank. We'll take the fight with Shakur. Anybody. It's whatever. It's up. My son is the best. And I've been telling y'all that. He sparred everybody. I'm not hating. He's on the come up. Why he can't fight the top dog? Why Shakur running from my son? Since we being honest, let's be honest.
He was putting his dreads in his mouth and everything, man. So, all right. So, okay. So, this is my question, y'all. This is my question, man. Is this what we at in boxing, man? Where we could be this delusional, like where we not gonna check this, like where we just gonna really let this stuff? Because it's kind of sad that young Schofield got to go through this, because that's the guy that's leading the trail. Now, he got him into a position. You can't deny that he got him into a position. You know, he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. He's doing everything he need to do. So you can say whatever you want about him, but he's being a pretty great father and putting him in position and doing all this. But like this level of delusion, is this where we have arrived at in boxing, to where this is starting to be the norm, y'all? And this is when I said we're gonna smack out the park. But I got 3 more of these that we're gonna go through.
This cannot.
Everything you ever wanted.
At the end of the day, this cannot be the standard. This cannot be something that the boxing generation that's in their 20s and 30s, and these are the fighters, you know, that are in their generation. They can't be looking at this and saying nothing about it. I was looking for a word, but then it just came to me just to say they can't just be saying nothing about it. Like, somebody needs to get on the phone with them and say, look, you guys may be a talent. You guys may be it. But to fuck around and demand all this money and wind up having to sit out a year or more or close to 2 years because you're asking for ridiculous amounts of money that nobody's going to pay you. So then just to stay active, it leaves you to fight these low-level C fighters, which is now the momentum you just got. You just lost all of it, and now you're in the negative trying to climb back into the positive. If they claiming they understand the business of boxing, what you just did, that's not how you do business, period. We've been saying, know your market value. You may have your own personal value, but it's also very important to know your market value, because then you have something to fight for. If you feel your personal value is much higher than your marketing value, that means you got work to do. You, not anybody else. You. Because you got to show the market that you're worth what you believe you're worth. So many don't get that. This is where none of you motherfuckers is actually ever gonna get the money like Tank, to get the money like Canelo and Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, because they knew their worth, but their market value reached it. And some fighters, their market value is higher than they think their own worth is. So they get fucked up and be like, oh shit, you offer me that kind of money? Yeah, because you that nice. All we want you to do is fucking believe it now. And that's what we say about fighters like Shakur, and booths. The market wants to increase your value, but you got to believe you're worth that kind of money and give us those performances.
Yeah, let me read this article real quick because I think they hit it in the head. This is from Boxing News 24. Schofield camp floats 10 million to 50 million price for fights with boxing's elite. This is by Chris Williams. Floyd Schofield Sr. says he and his son, Kid Austin, want $10 million for a fight against the big names. From 10M to 50M, 50. According to Schofield Sr., they should be asking for $50 million for fights against Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Abdullah Mason. He believes they should be able to eat off of the ticket sales, concession stands money that comes in. Even 10 million is a staggering figure, but for Floyd Sr. to be floating to 50 million, wow. His feet aren't firmly planted on the ground. He's up in the clouds, dreaming stuff up and coming up with wow figures. The resume reality check. This the reality check. The fundamental problem is that the 23-year-old Schofield Jr. has an empty resume, barren of notable names. His best career win is 35-year-old Tevin Farmer, who came into their fight on June 28th with a 3-fight losing streak. He was 0-3, a textbook example of how a down and out fighter. We're calling Tank out. If Mason wants to call us out, we'll accept the fight. If Shakur wants to fight, we'll go up to 140 and fight Shakur. Those guys don't want to fight us, said Floyd Schofield Sr. How could you say you're not worth 10 million? I'm saying it is the people who are saying Kid Austin, isn't worth 10 million, said Schofield Sr., defending his asking price of 10 million for his son to fight the big names Shakur, Tank, Haney, and Mason. What price would they put on their kids if they died in that ring? If they can't say they're worth that price, that's on them. And I'm not even, well, hold on, it's not that much more. But Floyd Sr.'s asking price, he's not going to get any of the 4 names that he wants for his son, Kid Austin, to fight. What he needs to do is start from the bottom, fighting some of your contenders that are young, hungry, and on the rise. JDR Herrera will be a good one. William Zepeda will be excellent as well. He's a guy who softened up Farmer for Schofield to fight by beating him in back-to-back fights. I know he's worth more than that. He's worth more than 10 million because if we're going to do fair business, we should walk away with 50 million. We should eat off some of the advertising. We should eat off the concession stand and the ticket sales. If they come in with 10 million, we're fighting now. It's about the money. You can't take this boxing stuff with you. It's like, man, like, bro, that's just delusional. And it's like people not even gonna want to sit down and have a conversation. Why? Because time is money, and people are not going to want to waste any time.
That's the type of delusion that pisses common sense people to fuck off in a way that just tells you to shut the fuck up and get out the room or get out the office. You feel what I'm saying? Because you're like, what if someone dies? Well, then you shouldn't have never got into boxing, because that could happen at the amateur level. It could happen at the pro level. It could have happened with your son's second fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if it's my son in boxing, and I'm speaking for me and the type of dad I am. If it's my son in boxing, the first thing I'm gonna ask is, if we talking about some of these fights, what's his fair market value? And what is it that you're offering? I'm gonna look at him and say, if you win this fight, you're that much closer to getting the money that you feel you're worth. Like I just said, you have to build that up. You just don't open up a bank account with $5 and then go to the dealership and say, I'm ready to buy a car. Yeah, I'm gonna write you a check for a $30,000 car, and you got $5 in the bank. All right, see how far that shit gets you. Once they find out that check bounced, don't you find yourself locked up behind bars and a whole bunch of other stuff because you were that delusional, and this dude is that delusional to even make that his starting point and then say, these guys don't want to fight us. Well, when you're that fucking delusional, you don't want to fight them.
All right. So look, so that's if we was younger, like in the 6th grade, and we was playing kickball, that one that was when you call out, give it to me slow and bouncy. You know what I'm saying? So you can kick that shit out the park. That's what I'm gonna give you one that's a little. I ain't gonna give you one that's like a kick it out of the park, but I think it's a level of delusion this one as well. So this the next one. Let's move to the next one. Like I said, I had 3 more of these. This is the next one. This is the second one out of 4. So this is number 2 out of 4. This is the next one. Deontay Wilder says, I'm in my prime. Like, right now, like, hold on. Because I don't need y'all taking my word for it. And I don't want to misquote the man. So this is according to the Ring magazine. Deontay Wilder doesn't believe he's lost a step. I'm in my prime. Deontay Wilder hasn't looked as explosive and violent as he once did. At 40, he looks past his best, but he doesn't believe that's true. I'm in my prime now, Wilder said. Wilder still sports that menacing look, yet that mind-numbing power he once had hasn't shown up when he needed it most recently. In 4 of his last 6, the former WBC heavyweight champion has come up woefully short. His last few appearances have been particularly dreadful. Joseph Parker won nearly every round against Wilder in December 2023. Roughly 6 months later, Zhilei Zhang took his pound of flesh, stopping Wilder in the 5th round. Eventually, the Alabama native got back on track against Terrell Herndon. But even with Wilder being viewed as a gigantic favorite, he didn't exactly blow him out of the water. Wilder scored 2 knockdowns before knocking out Herndon in the 7th on June 27th. Now Wilder is in the middle of negotiating a matchup with Ring, IBF, WBA, and WBC heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk. The Ukrainian has seemed adamant about facing Wilder, who was last champion in 2021, in the first half of 2026. Wilder, 44-4-1 with 43 KOs. That's a beast-ass resume, though. I ain't gonna lie. Figures to be a massive underdog, but he believes his late start in the sport has helped preserve him despite his advanced age. I started boxing very late, he said. I started at 21. 3 of his 4 losses have come by stoppages, the most recent in 2024. In the very first comment on that article, somebody said delusional comment. And I'm like, I didn't even see that until I read this one here now. But like, is that delusional, bro, to say that this man 40 years old? Because think about it. How old is Bud? 38?
Yeah.
Wilder 40, and Bud hadn't taken that kind of damage, has never taken that kind of damage now. Is this like just motivational speech? Is this just I still got it talk? Like, is that a level of delusion, or what is that? What is that, AC, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's a level of delusion, because his rationale for that delusion is the fact of how short of time he's been in boxing, but he doesn't know the wear and tear on him. Those stoppages took 3 to 5 years away from his longevity. Terrence Crawford could easily still box because he has the skill set to go out there. He just has to pick and choose his opponents. No real superstar hungry young dogs that carry massive amount of power and shit like that. And he can continue boxing for a minute because he has that type of ring IQ that decent and solid names will never beat him. And he can make a career out of that. Where Deontay Wilder is, you never got to that level of being fundamentally sound. So when people look at you, say you're in your prime, we're like, that Zilly Zhang knockout must have really fucked your head up, because you really think you're in your prime? I mean, you basically won in total maybe 2 fights since 2021. I mean, maybe you think that you having a clear mind and a clear conscience and shit like that, that's some sort of superpower and stuff like that. Maybe you could start to see things the way you used to see things when you were oblivious to what was going on around you. And now that you claim you cleaned your circle and cleaned up, you know, your closets and shit like that, everything is coming to you and you're feeling different. Well, I don't remember, I think it was Bernard Hopkins who said it. The ring is a lie detector test. So you can say all this shit right now, but once you get in that ring with Alexander Usyk, we gonna see how much of your prime you're in, because even in the last fight you got those knockdowns, your punch technique was still sus. Like that slapping, punching down shit. I don't know what the fuck that is, Wilder. You just lack all technique, and right now you're actually being delusional. Take the Usyk fight, get your bag, and break out, bro.
Yeah, I think this, man. I think I will have to lean towards delusional. Now, I would say in life, outside of boxing, life, and like, you know, without the wears and tears of boxing, he might be in the prime of his life. Like, cause he probably feel like he got a second win after the relationship. When he ain't boxing, I mean, shoot, he's still able-bodied, you know what I'm saying? Don't have no problems getting around and all that. So there's a difference between being prime in life and that. I'm 45, so I got him by 5 years right now. You know what I'm saying? And no way in life am I in my prime. And I wasn't even boxing. I just, being in the army, having broken humerus, broken collarbone, broken wrist, mild osteoarthritis. In life, I don't even feel like I'm in my prime, and I got him by 5. But in boxing shape, it's different. And then to be in the heavyweight division, that's different. Wow, because it only takes one punch. You seen what AJ was able to do to Jake Paul jaw in 2 places, one time. That could have been Keith one time. He hit him one time, broke that shit in 2 places. Rearranged more than just his jaw, rearranged his whole life. Yeah. And when you get hit and you got blood coming out your ear, you know, when you get hit and you spin around and you are oblivious as to where you are in that moment, you know what I'm saying, in there with a dangerous opponent like you were with Zilly Zhang, you got to admit that you're past it. And I think that's part of the growth that you're going to need to actually go in there, and for me to feel kind of confident that the man ain't going to try to like get you up out of here for real. And this is my concern. With that level of delusion, Because I'm thinking they saying he might go in there with Chisora. And Chisora ain't all of that, but like Chisora might have enough dog to where what if he don't get past Chisora? Chisora is a kind of like he's a dog.
Yeah,
you know
Chisora is a dog, but to me, Chisora is in worse condition than Wilder. To me, watching Wilder versus Chisora, honestly, bro, no disrespect to neither one of them. Every time I think about that fight, I don't know why the cover of Bum Fight DVD always comes to my mind, bro. Because it's like by the third or fourth round, it may look like, you know, one out of shape drunk fighting a tall, skinny, in shape drunk. You feel what I'm saying? Like two uncles getting ready to get it on at the cookout.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So honestly, I think he's probably gonna sleep Chisora. Because Chisora's punch resistance is completely gone. Like Tyson Fury was literally holding this nigga up. Like, come on, Chisora. I just tapped you. Come on, bro. Stay up. You know, so. But if Wilder lets Chisora get off one of those desperate life haymakers that Chisora likes to throw, you feel what I'm saying? After you catch him a couple of times, then I could see Chisora flattening Wilder. Like, just clean his clock. Bah! That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, overall, I think they realized that Chisora is like, all you got to do, Deontay, is go out there and lightly shove the dude, and he's going to fall over and you get the 10 count. That's how I see that fight really going down. That they're talking about a Usyk and Deontay Wilder fight, and Chisora is the tune-up.
I mean, if they're gonna sweeten the pot and make it WWE to where they send Chisora off, I think Chisora will happily take that bag. What if you get excited and hit him in the back of the head and cause some cobwebs and make it ugly?
I'm more like this. Chisora right now is working with the production company and a choreographer to make that when Deontay Wilder just touches his shoulder, you got to make it believable. Because we just can't, like, looking at the two of them, again, this is bum fights, and there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee. So, Chisora, I'm just going to be bold enough to say it. Chisora is working on the dive right now. He's working on the dive. I don't know if the punch hits his glove. I don't know if the punch hits his shoulder. But they all working on it, on how he falls and, you know, how he gets up and prays Wilder and then comes out and says, you know, I just can't, I'll wait for Usyk to get revenge on him. Some weird shit like that. So that's the way I see that.
All right, so right now I think we 2 for 2. We both said Delusional, so I got 2 more and we're gonna wrap it up. I got 2 more.
Right.
Yeah, feel free to support the channel, man. Support the channel. We put in that good work, man. Put in that good work. But let's go on to the next one. This one. You're gonna like this one. You're gonna like this one, AC. And I gotta do it, man. I gotta do it. We didn't get outclassed, says Brian Norman Sr. And I didn't want to do this because I gotta separate Brian Norman Sr. and Brian Norman Jr. And I gotta highlight my bias because I wanted Brian Norman Jr. to win for the sport of boxing. I think that the energy he had, the outlook he had on the sport, the charisma he had, the talk, like he has all the makings of being a star in boxing. He's shown it. He might have took an L, but if he is cut from the cloth, like I think he is, studying all them throwback guys, being from down south, you know, the perspectives he have, if he wasn't just selling us a dream, if he wasn't just selling us a personality or a piece of a personality or being a character, I think that he still has a bright future. Now, I put a lot of stock in Brian Norman. Why? Because just like I believe Shakur can win the fight coming up with Teofimo, I'm not sure Shakur getting a victory is going to necessarily be good for the sport. And it's the same reason why I was going to do a video on Devin getting ready to fight Crocker, but then I said, no, I'm not going to do it because, you know, I gave Devin a reprieve when he actually took the challenge. I thought it was going to be the Ice Age. I thought it was going to be the end of the Devin Haney era. And it's almost like he got, like on Pac-Man, he got one of them boosts, one of them power pellets where it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying? He done got respawned again. Like, y'all gave this man, y'all legitimized this man calling himself Debo because he took your strap. Like, he came up, he took your strap. Not only did he take your strap, but you now have an image of a guy who we said was pillow fist. Tank Davis, my favorite fighter, said this pillow-fisted middleweight pillow-fisted middleweight couldn't bust a grape, basically. Like, and there's an image of Devin Haney knocking down Brian Norman. And then, well, we thought, okay, well, you know, even if you do get knocked down, old school style, he gonna go out swinging. At least he gonna go out on his shields. He actually made you put your hands in your pocket. You came alive later on, but the verdict of the fight was you gave Devin his first knockdown since Regis Prograis, which I have to admit, I gotta disclose this every time because people don't know, it was a one-way rehydration clause. I never seen Regis look like that. I was wondering why. I was like, man, it couldn't be that bad. There was a one-way rehydration clause. So I don't put too much stock in that. But that was the last time we seen Devin really look dominant like that, knocking an opponent down and being like, looking like, oh shit, he moved up to 140 and did that because that was his first fight at 140. So here we go at his first fight at 147, fighting a guy with a killer punch, a guy that can knock your head off in the stance, a guy that can wipe your hard drive out with a single left hook, like he did Jin Sasaki. He can put you out of there. He can smack it out the park. And he got the ups on you, knocked you down. And the verdict was Devin Haney won. And he got a highlight knockdown on you. He got a meme on you. And I can't say he beat you down. I can't really say that. I can't say he beat you up. I can't say that. I could say he outclassed you. Like that. Like if there was ever such a word, and like everybody know this, I'm not the biggest Devin Haney fan in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hate the dude, but I don't particularly care for like the things that they bring to boxing. And like he's a safety first fighter, so you know he's not like, that's not my typical style. But I can appreciate the skill set that he has. And just like when he beat Regis, he made me eat a plate of crow. When he beat Brian Norman, he made me eat another plate of crow. And he made me put more respect on his name by the victory. But to me, there has to be some level of delusion. And to argue the semantics of whether or not you got outclassed, I think that's a little petty. And I hope that's not rubbing off on Junior. And I hope that like Junior believes that he did get outclassed. Why? So that he'll never get outclassed again. And I'm going to read something so that we can talk about this. Because it's astonishing. Another Ring article. Brian Norman Sr. doesn't believe son was outclassed by Devin Haney. Confidence, bravado, and hubris were detected in the voice of Devin Haney ahead of his world title clash against Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Sr., however, was just as loud in his approach. He believed in his son and was completely convinced he would retain against Haney. However, it was Haney who came out on top in their Ring 4 Night of Champions co-main event on November 22nd, winning the WBO welterweight title with his newly won belt over his shoulder. Haney has said repeatedly that he's levels above Norman Jr., which when I heard it, I thought it was preposterous. He also believes that he outclassed the former champion. Norman Sr. can't argue with the results. Haney, 33-0, 15 KOs, 1 no contest, 1 fair and square, and it's now time to rebuild. However, what annoys him is the narrative that his son, who was dropped in the second round, was handed a lopsided beatdown. Y'all said he was going to get outclassed, Norman Sr. said. But you got one guy that landed 59 punches and another guy that landed 70 punches. That's an 11-punch difference over 12 rounds of fighting. Outside of the second round and a few sporadic moments, it wasn't the most fan-friendly fight. Haney landed just 70 of 271 punches, while Norman Jr. threw 399, but only landed on 15% of those shots, 59. Now Team Norman will head back to the drawing board. Getting back to the mountaintop will take time, but they vowed to do just that and earn a rematch with Haney down the line. But while they work on the holes Haney exploited, Norman Sr. refuses to let anyone believe his son was obliterated in that ring on that night in Riyadh. 11 punches ain't outclassing by nobody, Norman Sr. continued. You can feel however you want to feel because of your emotions. Now, I can't say this. No, he didn't get obliterated. He got outclassed. But let me put something in perspective for you, the way I see it, because sometimes when it comes down to numbers, people need different types of illustrations. So, in your case, you saying Devin only landed 70 out of 271 punches, while Norman Jr. threw 399. So he was one shy of 400 punches and only landed on 15% of those shots at 59. So let me put it like this. 365 days in a year. You throw in another 30 days, 35 days. So let's say another month. So you got 1 year and 1 month. You got 13 months. So you go over to a broad house for 13 months. That's what it is. In days. So we talking about days and we convert that over to months. You only smash 15% of the time. So you go over there for 13 months and you land 59 punches. You only smash 2 months out of the 13 months. You down bad, bro. I don't care how you want to skin it. We talk about punches and not smashing, but if you want to use numbers now, he
don't like you like she
that whole
like you.
year.
He like you.
Huh?
She don't like you think she like you, or she cheating.
Yeah, and so damn, he went over there. He wasn't over there quite a full year. He was over there for 9 months, and out of them 9 months, he crushed a whole 2 months and 10 extra days. So out of 9 months, he crushed for 2 months and 10 days, and out of a year and a month, you crushed 2 months. Come on, man. It's pitiful on both sides, but because I can't say you got beat down, we have to acknowledge that Devin He did the unthinkable. And that was the way that he was going to do it. Like the method in which you would think a boxer, a stick and mover like Devin Haney, that's the only way he could really garner a victory. Nobody saw Devin Haney knocking you down and towering over you, and then you standing around looking like, oh shit, is he gonna come? Is he gonna jump on me now? And you put your hand. I did not see that. It was a shock to my system. I sat there after that second round and all for the rest of the fight. Like, I know he didn't. I know he gonna do something. Okay, he gonna get his faculties back. Okay, he bought a step on the gas. It didn't never happen. You have to label that an outclass. So I mean, I don't think it's something that Senior should be upset about. I know it's because, you know, he talked a lot and he was, you know, throwing out his stuff and in the mess hall with his chest out, and now people have a lot to say. I kind of spared him because I understand that's a young champ. I gave him grace because he's one of my fighters now. So I was like, hey, I'll give him some grace. But like, we gotta be real, man. That is a level of delusion. Like Devin, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, he outclassed you, bro. It just is what it is. What you think about this one?
This one, I'm a little torn between it because you'll probably understand this as well. You're playing a football game, right? You're in football. You're on your team, right? You know from your practices and everything else, and from some dudes that came from that area and started playing on your team, you know y'all dudes is built differently and y'all rough and rugged, yada yada yada. But those guys over there are the city statewide champs and stuff like that. They've been on the big stage. They got to play a game in a college stadium and shit like that. You feel what I'm saying? For one of their finals. Your championship game was held at the most prestigious high school. So when you face them, you're playing the game with them and you're just watching your team fumble and make stupid mistakes, and you're sitting there yelling at them like, bro, what the fuck's up with us? We better than this shit. Let's go. Let's get this shit together. We better than this. But then you lose the game, and you lose the game by 4 fucking field goals. To everyone else, regardless of how you felt, they see the other team just outclassing you, making you feel like, you know, what everybody else saw was you'll never be on that level to play in a college stadium. So the way the talking goes, you're like, yeah, I get it, but I know my team is much, much better than this. We fucking choked. That's what it was. I hear what all y'all saying, but at the end of the day, we choked. When they caught those couple of early, when they caught that interception and turned it into a touchdown and then got the field goal, and then on the punt, they caught the fumble and then turned that into a safety or whatever, and they just got out the gate on us. It fucked us up. So to me, I could see that aspect of it because I could see that frustration in their face. I could kind of hear it as I went back and watched the fight. His dad couldn't come to grips with giving him anything because he's just more fucked up. Like, we're better than this. The fuck are you doing? Yeah. Come on, get your head in the game. Let's go, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to you because I can't get past this shit. So when the dad is being frustrated at it, he remembers that feeling. So where people are going to say you're delusional, in his own mind, he could never be that until maybe he goes back and watches that fight with a room full of his closest friends that'll be honest with him. Like, nah, right there, this is where y'all could have did it, but y'all didn't. things were kind of like scattered, and then by the time y'all started to get it together, you just ran out of time. So I'm only asking you, if you was in our shoes, how would you view that fight? Yeah, I could see y'all point. And it may take something like that for Dad to see it. Now, I have to also say this. Junior said somewhat the same thing. The night of the fight, when he was in the hotel room, I don't know whose interview that was, but the dude had asked him, you know, do you think you was outclassed? Do you think he was like, no, it was none of that. It was all me. So if I don't want to go after one without recognizing both of them are on the same page with what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, when you wholeheartedly believe what you're saying right there, and you can identify who this person is trying to be and knowing who they're not, and then they catch you early on in the first and second round with the same punch, and you're that young, it is easily for that impression to feel that, oh shit, maybe he is that much better than me. And when you started to think like that, your pops couldn't understand what the fuck's going on. What's going on with this breakdown? So for me, it's 50-50. Yes, your comment to the rest of the world is delusional, but as a fellow competitor and someone who's been in a situation where I myself choked, I know exactly what you're feeling, but you know, the important thing is to work your way back and get your get back. I was able to run it back and show that, yeah, you just got me that one because I fucking choked. That was all on me because I know for a fact you ain't nice.
Well, part of this remind me of that time when Devin got hit by Linares, and he was like, right after the fight, he's like, I was never hurt. I was never hurt, honestly, and blah, blah, blah. And then like 3 months later, he was like, yeah, I was hurt, but it's like, yeah, I ain't never put my feet in Charlie Murphy couch. Like, yeah, I put my feet in Charlie Murphy couch.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute before they can actually see what the rest of us saw. But in their camp and the way it happened in real time, they just didn't see it like that. It was just one of those mental collapses, and by the time you got there, it was just too late.
Yeah, and another thing, I know, like, whenever you dealing with addiction or you have a problem or whatever, the first thing is you got to take accountability and you got to acknowledge. Like, I mean, we not saying he got beat down, but we are saying outclassed. It's like, if you embrace it and say, all right, well, I ain't never gonna let nobody outclass me, and then I'm gonna take the steps. Like they say, Lomachenko, he went and took ballet to get his father had him in ballet. I ain't saying you got to go to that extent, but like, if you're gonna address something with the footwork and go get, go do something, maybe, do something with your feet, do something that's gonna make you. There are things you can do to get better with your footwork. There's boxing or camps and, people that you can go get with to do it. It's just because I believe this. I be joking around with my lady and stuff, and I be saying, yeah, I was a closet alcoholic, even though I really wasn't. But like, for me, I joke around and tell myself that just so that, like, it's like, yeah, I don't want to be like that. Like, it's just. So I joke around like that, but I think that when you do stuff like that, it forces you to acknowledge it, and then it forces you to like be accountable and to not do things that's gonna make you go down that road. So like in his example, and this is a light example, but like if he was to acknowledge like, yeah, man, Devin outclassed me, and he go look at that film and he see Devin dropping him, and then he see what you said as far as at that point in time, he should have realized that Devin was never. It was a point in time after that when Devin did get a little excited, like, yeah, if I see that opening again, I'm going to steal him. Like, I'm going to do it again. But like then he kind of simmered down, and then he got that flight kind of mentality again, where it's like, I'm ahead now. He ain't, unless he really get out of line and I got to do something, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm about to play keep away. Yeah. If he acknowledges that they got outclassed, he's gonna take steps to where he makes sure, or he does everything in his power to never be outclassed again.
Yeah, he's gonna go back and use that film and watch that fight and study everything and try to get in his own head. Like, where did I fuck up? What happened to whereas I believed this dude for those 4 or 5 rounds? What happened where I believed this guy? What did he do to me? And then when you look at it and you say, he really didn't do nothing. It was me because I believed it. And yeah, because I accepted that role, I let him outclass me.
Right.
Therefore,
Right.
I was outclassed.
That and that's kind of like what Shakur did with De Los Santos. I know De Los Santos went back and Shakur was saying he bluffed him. Remember, he kept saying I kept bluffing him or whatever. And it's like, if he gonna let me get away with it, like that in boxing, like for a guy like Shakur, a guy like Devin, that's outclassing. That's like how they operate.
Yeah,
It just is what it is. Like, so I mean, that's just the definition of it. He didn't beat you down. He kind of made you put your hands in your pocket. He dropped you. You know, he had you looking kind of weird, like had me looking at you kind of weird for a second. I'm like, man, like I can't believe this. Like it was an anomaly to me. I'm like, wow.
yeah.
I mean, I gotta put a little bit of respect on his name for what he did. But then, you know, I didn't beat myself up too bad because I mean, shit, the things that they were saying about the Normans and how they was levels above and all this, you was like, well, damn, y'all making me think y'all cherry picking. I'm not the type of guy that's going to do that. But that's what it was, y'all. You just got outclassed, man. Like he got up. You realized, like you thought, okay, he might pounce some of you. Oh shit! Like what he got? Like I didn't know he had that. Shocked you, startled you. The lights got big, and he just simply outclassed you.
When they get back in the winning column, they're both going to admit it, and they're gonna say, yeah, I use that now as a stepping stone and motivation for the rematch. If that's what you're gonna do, and you use the timing like that, then the statement may age well and give you a couple of points, because then it ties you from delusional back into they're upholding the integrity of boxing. They take accountability for their losses. They may have said something goofy, but they, in the long run, realized it. You feel what I'm saying? It's like that AB thing. Y'all know I beat that boy. You know?
Yeah.
So, just don't let it be that AB thing. So just, hopefully when you get back in the winning column, you'll be able to rectify it, and that'll be one of the tools you used to get back into the winning column and get back into the winning mindset.
Yep, good stuff. I got one last one, man. It's gonna be a good one, man. It's gonna be a good one. All right, let me go to the last one. It's gonna be a good one, man. This the last one.
Oh yeah, oh my God. Like yo,
so we was I'm gonna say we might be 2 for 3. We might be 2 for 3, but then this one with the oh my gosh, I'm thinking we going 3 for 4. You know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things, like Norman Senior might have got off the hook. He might not be delusional based on how you said you were divided. So this one is the last one. And Timothy Bradley, I don't really understand his motivation anymore. I've been stopped trying. But I know that he wants to ingratiate himself with Bud. That's one of his guys. He was one of the guys who basically gave Bud the glowing endorsement, helped put him even more on the map than what he was. Lifelong friend. And I know that him and Keyshawn, they've had their little, run-ins. Keyshawn started smelling himself. He basically told Tim Bradley off, like threatened him a little bit before Tim Bradley came out and expressed it. I guess they patched it up. Keyshawn came out and said he was, probably went a little bit overboard, things like that. And, part of active squad, I think it's a duty for Tim, because he should be on here, because I think him and Ward, they kind of do a little bit of this. Now, Ward don't do it a lot, but like they do a lot of gatekeeping, especially for Shakur. And y'all can't see Keyshawn, but he's back there. He's behind Ward. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll get Keyshawn to step out when I update this, and he'll be like right out there in the crowd, because they tend to gatekeep these guys, especially when it comes down to the conversation. They throw their Hall of Fame weight around. But we have to start adding this guy to the mix, because Tim Bradley is starting to I don't know what his motivation is, and I don't know why he does it, but he did come out and say, like in Boxing News, he says, Tim Bradley names the next fighter who can be the next Terrence Crawford. And I'm kind of getting tired of this. I want these boxers to just be themselves. Like, they were trying to say Jersey Vargas was the next Tank Davis. They were trying to say Kermel Moulton was the next Tank Davis. They saying Shakur Stevenson might be the new Floyd, and Keyshawn is probably the new Bud. It's like none of that works. And I'm gonna break this one down kind of thoroughly too, because I'm like, man, these guys, sometimes it hurts. Like I don't really think it helps Shakur too much when you put him in the shadows of Floyd Mayweather. I don't think it helps Boots when you put him in the shadows and say he's the next Roy Jones. It don't, because when we're giving the glowing praises and we're saying that these guys are like those guys and we're being complimentary, they suck it up. They put their chest out. They smile. They take deep breath and put their chest out, and they, but then when we say, oh, well, Floyd would be doing this, or Roy would be doing this, or Bud was this kind of fighter, they be like, oh, here y'all go. So it's like, no, I think these guys should live based on their own merits and what they do, because you're just adding a lot of pressure. And for a guy like Keyshawn, who might not have the clearest mindset, might not have it all upstairs, and he does suffer from mental health, that's a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying? To live in those shadows of Bud, because Bud, he's the trailblazer now. Like, he's officially made his bones, you know what I'm saying? Became legendary. People are saying, I heard they call him a goatee. I've never heard like the greatest of this era, I guess. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's what y'all want to say about him. Okay, all right. But Terrence Crawford's retirement may have left boxing without its most complete modern fighter, but Tim Bradley believes the search for his heir need not last long. Crawford bowed out of the sport last month with an unblemished record, a legendary resume, and a final victory destined for the history books. From winning his first world title at lightweight to collecting belts across a further 4-weight classes, his achievements placed him in rare company. He capped it all by becoming undisputed super middleweight champion with a stunning win over longtime superstar Canelo Alvarez. Later this month, however, fans may see the re-emergence of a fighter who, according to Bradley, has the potential to achieve similar success in Keyshawn Davis, speaking on his YouTube channel. Since Terrence Crawford has left and retired from the sport, I think the closest fighter that could, I don't want to say emulate, but has a damn good chance of at least attempting to do what Crawford did is Keyshawn Davis. Bradley, a former 2-weight world champion who shared the ring with Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, outlined why he rates Davis so high, while also stressing what must improve if the 26-year-old is to enjoy a truly illustrious career. Similar attributes: good power, great ability, hell of an IQ, Olympic silver medalist, has the intangibles as far as what's internal, Kid is a killer. He definitely wants to knock you out. He definitely wants to hurt you. He's got a lot of spite in him, a lot of pent-up pain. I'll just say he got a lot of that in him. I can tell. However, he's got to get this right mentally. Davis returned to the ring against Jermaine Ortiz on January 31st, featuring on the Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson undercard at Madison Square Garden. Davis has spoken openly about his mental health struggles, but a focused and firing version of the American is a clear asset to the sport. An impressive victory over Ortiz could set the tone for a strong 2026 for the former WBO lightweight champion. The very first title Crawford won against Ricky Burns back in 2014. Now, what I'm going to harp on here is when you listen, because for me, when you say statements like, okay, he's going to be the next Bud, you need more than like bullshit filler. Okay, hell of an IQ. Okay, cool. We could say Bud got IQ. We could say good power. We could say, can we say great boxing ability? Great. Might be an overstatement. Olympic silver medalist. Okay, cool. Cool, that's an accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? So at the amateur level, you went up to a level to where only person was better was at that time was Andy Cruz. Cool. Same fate as Shakur, same fate as Floyd. Okay. As the intangibles, as far as what's internal, this is when you start missing me. Kid is a killer. Okay, cool. Well, we don't perceive him as a knockout artist right now, like at least anyway. He's already let 4 out of the 12 people off the hook at this stage. So, I mean, he definitely wants to knock you out. Okay, wanting to knock somebody out, okay, cool. But that's the very opposite of what Shakur is trying to do. So, I don't get it. He definitely wants to hurt you. Okay, cool. That's a mindset. Right? But you can't translate over to Bud. Bud is going to hurt you at some point. Like, he is going to enact that on you at some point. He's got a lot of spite in him. Bud might have a lot of spite in him, but what that got to do with boxing? A lot of pent-up pain. Bud probably definitely got a lot of pent-up pain. Okay, but what that got to do with boxing? I'll just say he got a lot of that in him. I can tell. However, he's got to get this right mentally. So he's already like had a meltdown. If you're looking at basically comparing him to Bud, first of all, I think Bud is more dominant as a southpaw, even though he's ambidextrous. He can fight both ways. Keyshawn is an orthodox fighter. Now I know people say, "Oh man," people think that because he can switch and this and this and that. Well, that's the same thing they plays Boots for, except for when you have the level of control that somebody like Bud has. We just saw this with a guy like O'Shaquie Foster. Like to where, okay, if something is not going right in the orthodox, I'm going to change over to the southpaw. And there is going to be no drop off in my jab. There's going to be no drop off in my hooks. My defense ain't going to take, my footwork ain't going to look clumsy. I'm not going to be able to just pivot one way. I can do it all from both sides, either way. Now, Bud, he tended to switch over, and when he was ready to hurt and do damage, he's switching over to southpaw. That's the killer switch. When he's over in left and when he's in orthodox, he's figuring you out, you know what I'm saying, touching you, probably pacing himself, doing shit like that. So when he flipped the switch, he go into killer mode when he's in southpaw. He's not in killer mode when he's in orthodox. That's something that Keyshawn doesn't have. He doesn't even have the mental fortitude of somebody like Bud. Like Bud, see, what you got to understand, when Bud went down and he shrunk down, Bud is on record saying that he would basically starve himself for 2 days when he was down there. He said he would not eat. Keyshawn just blew weight. And perhaps which could have been the biggest fight in his life, when he had on the line, when he had Allen Iverson, Michael Vick, the mayor, his whole family in his backyard, all that money on the line, his brothers fighting on the card, like all of these things, he imploded from the inside out. So the mental ain't there. It's clearly that it's a skill set not there. Yes, they do have some of the same attributes, but then I don't even think, for real, I don't even think they built the same. I think Keyshawn has to work on his legs. You know what I'm saying? I think he's more upper body than lower body, which you're gonna need your legs because that's where most of your power will come from, believe it or not. So he has to work on that. He has very small legs. I'm not gonna say it's like Wilder, but he don't have big legs. But he is a bigger guy. And then he's talking about fighting Jermaine Ortiz and then blowing that weight class and going straight to 47 for what? Because for one, if you're gonna say he the next Bud, he's way behind the Powerball. He's way behind the 8-ball, like on this one. And the attributes are not typically the same. They have flashes of being able to do the same things, but they're two different fighters. And I don't want us to like square peg, round hole this thing like for the rest, because we're already doing it with Shakur, saying he's Mayweather, but then Bud gave him the torch. So did Bud split the torch in half and light this bundle of sticks and give one to Keyshawn and then give the other to Shakur? It's getting sloppy. Did he give one to Batman and one to Robin and one to Robin Jr.? It's like, how far are we going to go with this? Just let Keyshawn develop in his own style. He does have some attributes to where when you see some of his moves, especially when he go to the body and he's throwing his hooks and he in his zone, he has some similar. He resembles him at times. There's like small glimpses of that. But you can see that in a lot of fighters, especially when they train together, you can see some of the similar characteristics. Because I could see some of Africa in the boxing style from an orthodox point of view the same way when you look at the film and the tape. Because he's been looking at all these guys. He's been studying these guys too. So you're going to get a little bit of crossover from that. But I think Tim Bradley, you got to stop that. I think this is a level of delusion that if it goes unchecked, his whole career is going to be spent in the shadows of Terrence Bud Crawford. And I don't think they're nowhere near like the same type fighters. They have some attributes, good power and all that. But like when Bud turned it on, he want to put you to sleep, he going to do it. That's just my thought. You know what I'm saying? What you think, AC?
Well, I'm going to go with completely delusional. Because for me, yeah, you get those little glimpses, but when you look at the type of professional, you look at what people do inside the ring as well as outside the ring, that will really, really tell you who's really like who. You've already been suspended for smoking weed. Bud don't smoke weed at all. He don't drink.
I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah,
he's of the mindset, my body is a temple. So that right there alone just tells me you can't be that because you never started out with that type of mentality. So yeah, I don't have a problem with people advancing, learning, changing their minds, changing their ways and stuff like that. But there's always the saying, when the going gets rough, and it will get rough, will you go back to your old ways? You know what I'm saying? So one of his old ways is being a hothead and crashing out. You got yourself to a certain level. Whether or not you need a chaperone or not, when the shit got rough, you crashed out. So that has not happened with Terrence Crawford. When shit got rough for him, it made, for many, he's made bad decisions, but those bad decisions somehow kept him within striking distance, to whereas he was always in the mix, and the accolades did also helped as well. So he valued what he valued and things like that. It's just on so many different levels, to whereas I don't see Keyshawn being like Bud. the one main area, the one main area where I can say, honestly say, you two were right there, was when Top Rank decided to do that documentary on you, when you did that North Carolina day and stuff like that, and your moms went to go meet with the mayor, and the mayor was willing to give you land so you could start your own boxing program, and Board of Education was willing to, you know, have you have that little side elective and all of that, to where, you know, high school students can join your boxing program, and you know what I'm saying, if this is what's going to bring them to the Olympics and give them a great, so all of that type of stuff is exactly Terrence Crawford like. The businessman part, that part right there, that I can give it to you right there. But anything outside of that, I can't, because for me, you're your own talent. At one point, I was feeling you're your own special talent. Like, you're one of these guys that can show us something special. Moving in your own way, doing your own thing, the Keyshawn Davis way. And I thought that's where it was gonna be. But now Bradley is trying to bring you into something. Just like in your opening statement in one of the house cleaning joints, somebody was saying in something that you saw, Devin needs to go fight Errol so Errol can pass the torch. Like, this desperation of passing the torch. It's like, the fuck is wrong with you people? Now Keyshawn is can do what Bud did, but Bud was supposed to have passed the torch to Shakur. So you just basically shitted on Shakur, telling Shakur you'll never be what Bud was. The only person in there, even though you may have been, you know, got passed the torch of Big Bro, you're not gonna be what I think Keyshawn is gonna be. So I don't know if you're trying to add dissemination, a little prod and poke. You know, maybe you're doing this weird shit to get in and sow dissent. Because to make a statement like that, a psychiatrist or someone who studies psychology will be like, the fuck's your point in saying that? The two of these dudes are claiming that they're brothers. But you're just going to outright and say one of the brothers are more likely to be like Big Bro than the one who says, yeah, that's my big bro and that's my little bro. Bro, that shit is wicked on many different levels, Tim Bradley. I don't know what game you playing right now. I'd love to hindsight the shit out of this in a minute.
Let me tell you. You know, Bud was Harold Melvin. These are the blue notes. Like, Bud was a Harold Melvin. He was not a blue note. Like, and this is something about, like, it's almost like kind of like I see some of that in myself, as far as, like, I'm not a pack kind of guy. Like, I would be more of a lone wolf. Like, I'm not a, you know, it's some characteristics I can thrive. Like in football, I thrive because I had a role, I played my role, I acknowledged everybody else and expected everybody else's role. In the military, part of a team, I understand, like, knowing my role. I could play basketball, so if I was put at shooting guard, I would understand and, you know, and operate in the confines of that role. But I'm not like a pack mentality. Like, that's why I like the gang culture, ganging up, getting jumped, needing somebody. I've never rolled like that. I've always been rolling by myself. Keyshawn is a pack kind of guy. Bud is like a lone wolf, to where it's like, no, if it gotta be on me, I'm going in, I'm gonna get the job done, I'm gonna do this by myself. I don't see that, because you wouldn't be a blue note. You wouldn't be letting Shakur, you wouldn't allow Shakur to do stuff like this. He wouldn't be able to put you in positions and control you and do these kind of things. Like, that's a mindset that you gotta have. You got to be like, look, man, especially in the position you were in, because you showed it. When it came down to the fight where your big bro, your big bro and your little bro was on your card, and you imploded, and they needed you, and you're the middle child.
Yeah.
That's a mindset. Like, no, you need to be that lone wolf mentality. That to where it's like, listen, man, if I don't pull this off, ain't nobody gonna eat, and we gonna eat. Like, you don't have that. That's not something that somebody can verbally pass because somebody that's in the Hall of Fame or got voted in the Hall of Fame by a jury of boxing peers. That's not something they can verbally anoint you with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not something we can stand and I can do like this on your shit and say, oh yeah, you're the one. You know, it's not like that. This is something that had to take place a long time ago, and you had to be developed, and you kind of got to be groomed for it, but a lot of that got to be in you. Yes. Do you have some attributes like wanting to get your get back? Yes. Do you have a mean streak? Yes. But you're an orthodox fighter. You're not a one-punch knockout artist. I don't think Bud really was either, but I think it's a different in skill sets, because to be able to do that, we've seen Bud, and this is what, don't take my word, this is what Roy Jones said. Because I'm not fronting like I'm the biggest Bud fan in the world. I'm a fan of Bud. I'm not the only fan though, so I don't want to get this twisted. That's why I'm using Roy Jones. Roy Jones said the reason why he knew he would beat Errol Spence because he had to watch his fight. And if you go back, like I had to go back, I went back and I looked at him and I was like, okay, so I seen how he did it. So, because I wanted to understand what Roy Jones was saying. Because me being a fan of who I was, I'm like, nah, my guy going to impose his will. He going to go in there and do like Michael Irvin said. He's like, he be breaking motherfuckers. He imposed his will. He put that pressure. But when you go back and you look at it, he had to fight and use different tools, and you've seen it. You've seen him circling the ring and waiting and using his conditioning and waiting for his opponent to make mistakes and frustrating him. You've seen him circling and circling and circling around and circling around. You've seen him stop. You've seen him switch. You've seen him do so many different things to actually get the job done, like a mechanic, like a guy who you say, all right, what I got to do in this fight? All right, so in this fight, I got to go in here and do this. I don't see that. If I did see that in the guy that Tim Bradley is talking about, then there wouldn't be all these firewalls. Like, it wouldn't have been a firewall up against a Frank Martin. It wouldn't have been a firewall up against an Andy Cruz. Because let it be told, one guy was going around saying, and a lot of people are going around saying that he never had these opportunities and he just had to take. Well, this guy has all of the opportunities. Yeah. He's getting handpicked and given and ushered and alley-ooped opportunities, and he's still building firewalls and making friendship. It's different. Yeah. So as much as these guys want to come out and say, oh yeah, this is what it is, and I anoint you as this, and yeah, we say this, and I mark you as that on some good old boy network, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of something that you said earlier when you were saying Keyshawn has that pack mentality. You're absolutely right. Shakur has that pack mentality. They brought Raymond Mortala in because, I mean, not Raymond Mortala, Raymond Ford in because he's showing signs that he has that pack mentality. Also, it's sad to say, but Africa is showing that he has that mindset where you can't be that. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Now, yeah. Here's the issue, and I'm going to give you 3 examples of where, if you have the pack mentality, it works extremely well for you. I'm going to bring up the Russells. They have a pack mentality, but that pack mentality resides in the den. If you sleep in this den, then you with the pack. If you don't sleep in this den and you think you're going to come in this den, we're going to attack you and rip you the fuck apart.
Spot on. Spot motherfucking on.
Abdullah Mason 5. Pack mentality, but it doesn't extend past the den.
Absolutely.
Keyshawn Davis, the fuck you're missing is you have the pack. You have the den. You wanted to build it up. DB3. Shakur is not in your den. The fuck is you worrying about this dude for? My last example, young Joseph Brown fighting out of Canada. He has his pack. That's him and his brothers. He talks about his younger brother and the youngest brother being the most dangerous. They have their dad. Their pack doesn't extend past their den. So at the end of the day, Keyshawn is missing where his greatest strength lies. And if he doesn't wake the fuck up, he's going to be the guy that's always the filler. The way Pop says it, you're Dick Drake, you're the Robin that never mounted. So
Excellent point. Excellent point. And maybe I'm like that by default because it wasn't a pack. It was like I had to. If I don't go do it, we ain't eating, and we gonna eat.
yeah,
So it was like it wasn't no option. It wasn't. But I never really fell into that. Even it's been kind of like that in the workplace too. It's like to a certain extent, it's like kind of I work together. I understand the teamwork and all that. But like, if anything, I'm running the point. Like, I know how to play a role if I'm not the one in charge, but like, nah, man, it's like, nah, it's just, it's something that kind of like had to be instilled in you.
yeah,
And something that you had to kind of go through and develop, like something to where it's like, you had to kind of like naturally evolve into it or be forced into it. It's not something that you could just be like, oh, I'm this. It's like how people be trying to say, I'm an alpha male. It's like, no, it's not work. It don't work like that. You can't I'm an alpha. It's like, no, it's not like that. It's already in your core. It's what, like, it's almost like being a puncher, like having power, like, and like, yeah, some things you can tweak and work on, but like, if some people got natural, like, just like natural leaders, they're natural born leaders, they're natural born followers, they're natural born, you know, codependent people. They're people that's self-sufficient, and like, it's just different, and nobody can label or place you in that and anoint you as such. They can help groom you to that. They can give you tips. They can kind of give you exercise and all that, but it's like, it's binary. It's almost like either you are or you aren't. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can kind of convert a little bit, but it's one of them things to where it's there or it's not, man.
Now, I was gonna say this, right? Between my moms and my pops, I come from a very, very big family. 18 of us total, right?
Mm-hmm.
But out of all of us, the majority of us move in a lone wolf way, as if we were only children. You feel what I'm saying? So when I took on accepting that I was an artist, because I saw the gift, and when people looked at my work and my colors and stuff like that, they said it was, art is a lone wolf type of thing. It's not the type of thing you need the pack for. You do your pieces individually. It's a one-on-one thing. Same thing with dancing. Cooking is the one thing that it's one-on-one between you and what you got to put in the pan and making sure it's perfect and seasoned and everything. But it's a team effort to make the dish for that entire table,
right?
For every table that's in there. So you understand that level of hierarchy. You understand how the ranks work. You understand the importance of direct, short, non-confusing communication. This is this. This is this. 86, I believe that's a term that crosses between the military and cooking. You feel what I'm saying? I could be wrong, but what I'm saying is that we understand 86 to mean no more. Not, oh, there was one left or three left. You feel what I'm saying? It's just absolutely zero left. So to understand, once you get to a certain level as a chef, you understand how to play your role. You may help out another chef. You may want to do consulting work. So the restaurant may already have an existing chef, but you got to walk in there with a delicate amount of balance to let them know, I'm not the guy that's going to replace your job. I'm the guy to help you tweak your shit so you can go from what you're being paid right now to what you're actually worth. So if you follow what I'm trying to show you, I get paid, you get paid, the owner get paid, everybody gets paid. We can strike that deal, and the dudes usually say yeah. Because once you let them know it's all about money, and what I'm here to do is just show you how to increase your money, then the most the type of personality that would be more combative then really understands it at that point. Otherwise they just say, you know what, I don't give a fuck, nobody needs to teach me, I'm walking out of this restaurant right now. And it's like, okay, good. Now it makes it easier for me to show the rest of these guys, because you've already shown everybody you're not a leader.
Yep.
So cool. That's what it is. You're a quitter, not a leader. So in that type of situation, I will let the executive chef know, I'm gonna work the line with the cooks. You're gonna call out the orders. I'm gonna cook the food, and I'm gonna look at how they cook the food, and then show you how I cook the food. And these little bit of changes are going to be the thing that actually helps you out in this area, and then it'll cut down the cost in this area while I talk to them about X, Y, and Z. So everything has its place, and you have to understand where you are. I don't go in there being delusional, you know what I'm saying, and say, this is a little diner and I want you to pay me $50,000 for what be a projected, 3 weeks to a month's work.
Yeah.
Like, where are you going to get $50,000 from when you're already telling me you're losing money? Where's this money going to come from? So I have to be reasonable and understand where you are with your market and the number that works well for me. And again, this goes back to the Schofield thing. I don't think he gets that. I don't think a lot of these young fighters get it, and to the Tim Bradley thing, it's bruh, you've been on a tangent in the last couple of days of saying some like, I don't know what the fuck you on, my guy. I really don't. 17 minutes on glazing Shakur.
It's been years now, though. He's been doing this for years now.
On feet. And I'm like, man, bro, you weird. That's all I'm gonna tell Tim Bradley. You weird. Sometimes, again, you're another one of these broken clocks to me. Because 90% of the shit you say throughout a 24-hour period is like, whoa. But, on any given day, you might be right about something. You might be spot on with some things. So you got to take the good with the bad with Tim Bradley. And that's why I just try to leave it with that dude. You just got to take the good and bad with him. He's like Coppinger. He's like, I forgot the dude's name, who was talking about the negotiations and saying who negotiates off the gross, you negotiate, who negotiates off the net, you negotiate off the gross. Max Kellerman.
Max, yeah.
So
I just stopped listening to Tim though. I just seen that because I don't know how I seen that, but I haven't listened to him for a couple weeks. I said like some people, I'm like y'all just keep doing the dumb shit. Y'all want attention? I'm just not gonna listen, man. I'm just gonna be like, nah, I don't want to hear nothing. Then when I see something, it's like, yeah, they still on it. Like I don't even care.
Yeah, I get it, bro. But I think we cooked on this one, man. I'm gonna go off these thoughts, buddy.
All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming through, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. And on to the next one, man. I can't wait to I can't wait till we do that official duck joint, and maybe a couple of joints you might decide to do during fight week. You know, closer to the 31st and shit like that. You know?
Yeah, I'm about to start preparing that duck one because we got to do that, man. Because like it's just getting popular for people to just throw that term out there and just label people, and it's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? There's more to it. If you're gonna be a boxing fan, you can't I just want to see the big fight. That don't work in today's day and time.
Yeah,
you're gonna be severely disappointed, you know. But we'll cook, man. And be safe out there, bro.
Yeah, for sure. You too, man. On to the next.
All right, man. All right. Yeah, that was AC. Is the Master Chef. Hopefully y'all got a little taste of how I be thinking and how I be looking at things, man. Like I say, man, we don't take things for face value. We do body work. That means we break it down systematically. You know what I'm saying? We look it up and down, left and right, side to side. We want to know the length, the width, the depth, the breadth, the buoyancy, the capacity, the volume. So we can make an assessment, man. We put all these boxes on a scale. We try to give them the benefit of the doubt because they get hit in the head for a living. We try to spare them. You know what I'm saying? We don't try to be malicious. We try to use this because just like boxing, it's 80% mental, 20% physical. And there is a level of delusion that's out here in boxing. It's out here in boxing talk. It's inherent. Like it's a lot of these creators, these content creators who they get away with that low level thinking. They're low vibrational, always shitting on people, always laughing and joking and hee-heeing and ha-ha and not taking anything for serious, thinking that they're up here when they're really not, thinking that they're more important than they really are. You know what I'm saying? And we all are just as important. Why? Because boxers need fans and fans need boxers. So we got to work together. We got to use our brains. We got to start talking these things out. We got to start using our level of rationale and reasoning. We got to stop being gaslit. And we got to stop allowing boxers, like I said earlier, when the dude was like, yeah, Evan should be able to move up. We shouldn't be allowing people to just use people like Errol Spence because it'd be a cardinal sin. Those same people would be like, oh man, we don't want to see no Errol Spence and no Virgil Ortiz, but it'll be okay for their fighter to try to garner something. And that fight might not even cater to the type of fighter in their fighter going up against the Errol Spence at that weight class. We don't know where he's at. But like we gotta start being more critically thinking, y'all. This is Fruits and Veggies, not Dead Reggie. That fact-based content, not opinion-based. Silence is consent is the mantra for the channel, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we speak to the things that need to be spoken to. And today, the topic of discussion was Delusional. Hopefully you was able to put something in your rucksack and march on. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work. Salute, mailers out, man. Hope you feel better, bro.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, Fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you wanna go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to